Guess what time it is? Take a guess. Oh, you don't know? The New American Media is presenting the TNAM Daily Show, a division of the Agree to Disagree Show. That's the podcast name. So let's get things started, shall we?
Your guide to the truth, thenewamericanmedia.com.
Broadcasting to you live from the Orion spiral arm of the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, somewhere that's not California, to be slightly specific. My name's Brian Engelman. Today is Thursday, June 5, 2025. And of course, this is the TNAM Daily Show here on the New American Media. Because the old American media has failed, we're going to discuss the big, beautiful bill boondoggle. Oh, yeah. What is going on with this spending bill? Well, it's our constitutional republic that's going on. It's democracy. Nope, democracy is two wolves and a sheep voting on what's for dinner. A constitutional republic allows you some different checks and balances. What have you delivered us, Mr. Franklin? Says a woman as the Constitutional Convention delegates leave their sweaty Philadelphia headquarters. He replies to the woman, "A republic, ma'am, if you can keep it." Because, yeah, you know what happens when you try to start a government. You know what happens in every government. So the question becomes, what do you do? What do you do when the corruption, the graft, the spending gets so insane that it's hard to even fathom what to do next? That's sort of where we find ourselves. You look at the parabolic curve of our budget. You look around the time of Obama when things went bonkers. 16 years of Obama's meddling into America have all but destroyed this formerly great nation. So what do we do about it now? Wait a minute. Obama was only in office for 8 years, you say. Stop. Him and his deep state cronies were meddling in President Trump's term, trying to get him impeached, trying to get him arrested, trying to get him thrown in prison, trying to bankrupt him, trying to get him exploded in Butler, Pennsylvania. That whole deep state apparatus. And don't think it's not the same exact groups of people who were running the Joe Biden puppet presidency. 16 years of Obama. We'll show you some charts and graphs, but we're at an inflection point. We are at a unique moment in time where we either go this way or that way. Yogi Berra once famously said, when I come to the, how did he, so famous, I can't recall it. I say, when you get to the fork in the road, take it. When you reach the fork in the road, take it. He doesn't say left or right. He just says take it. Well, you can't keep going straight. So what do we do now? I don't know. We're battling it out. And Thomas Massey, Rand Paul, Elon Musk, they're pushing back. They do not like what's going on with this big, beautiful bill. and it's time that we discuss it. So we'll get into that. We're going to talk about World War III. What's going on with the deep state? Do we have a shadow presidency escalating war at a time that we're trying to negotiate a ceasefire? To what end? Mike Pompeo, Lindsey Graham, Richard Blumenthal. Who is the president? Is there even a Logan Act? Once again, where are the arrests? Where are the indictments? I think we've long blown past the point of accountability. So we're going to unpack all of these issues and more on today's program. Hello to David Bann, checking in from Canada. I have a Canadian story for you today, provided I can get to all of them. There's a million stories, so I'm going to try to move fast today. When I say move fast, come on, David, when we start hanging out, we hang out. We unpack all the stories, didn't we? Don't we? On a regular basis. So yeah, we'll get in on it. Elon not happy, supposedly. Oh, no. I will prove to you he's very disturbed by what's going on, and he's got a right to be. My only concession, because I've been against this big, beautiful bill, except when I was for it. Okay, political speak, dude. So you're speaking out of both sides of your mouth, see? Well, look, I said this. Obama has taken 16 years to destroy America, to bankrupt us, to flood our country with non-citizens, to work with Soros to get district attorneys in these big, beautiful cities, to let criminality run rampant while cracking down on the good people. Everything's upside down. Obama's had 16 years. Oh, Trump was president for 4 of those. Stop it. There are so many shadow judges, shadow politicians, shadow educators, indoctrinators, shadow media companies. The deep state is everywhere. The tentacles have, I don't know how often you've dug up roots, but how often are you surprised when those roots tentacle so far away, you can hardly even, and good luck pulling them all up. You know, why do dandelion thrive? Well, several reasons. One, obviously, if you let one of those flowers go to seed, that will get puffy and white. Puffy and white? Are you making a reference to most of Congress? No, I would never bring race into such a thing. Although I'm a stand-up comedian, an aspiring stand-up comedian, a new stand-up comedian. I'm learning how to be funny. I always try to be funny. Well, I'm usually funny because I'm usually trying to find the humorous angle to things. But it's new to try to focus and get 4 minutes of funny. Punchline, punchline, punchline. I'm learning. I got a million things to learn. So yeah, puffy and white, like Lindsey Graham after a $400,000 junket to Ukraine. Bless my heart. Bless your heart, sweetheart. After a couple glasses of these triple Chardonnays, as evidence from those John Rich stories when I was talking to President Trump. I'm puffy and white. And I'm as straight as the dandelion stalk that springs from the roots. Okay, I'm not going to do Lindsey Graham anymore. I might. Who was I listening to? I think it was Kyle Dunnigan, the comedian. Was it Kyle Dunnigan? And he said, I was doing Bobby Kennedy impression on the Kill Tony show, and I did that for a couple of hours, and I went to sleep wondering if I would wake up not able to do my voice anymore. It would just be Bobby Kennedy. So once I get into like imitation mode, I was telling Michelle, this whole okey doke with the debt and Obamacare, I think it's being a little overblown. You see, Cloward and Piven taught us, if you want to topple a nation, you bankrupt them first, and your expenditures are through the roof, and then you can usher in communism, Marxism, Leninism, totalitarianism. So to anyone out there, trying to get in the way of my fundamental transformation, of the United States of America. First off, you didn't build that. You didn't build that. I told Michelle, they didn't build that. We're going to build back better. Yeah, you think that's a Biden phrase. Who do you think writes the Biden stuff? But anyway, when you start getting into the character mode, it is actually kind of difficult to break out of it. My Obama, once I settle into it, I just want to stay in that character for 10 minutes. Anyway, what the hell am I even talking about? Yeah, but Kyle Dunnigan said he worried that he was going to wake up and not be able to talk like himself. He just talked like RFK Jr. Anyway. Okay, so David is asking, is it part of the act that Elon is acting not happy? I don't know. I think there's a literal rift. I think there's a rift. But look, the one thing you need to know about Trump, number one, he's a negotiator, right? Big, beautiful bill. Why don't you ask for way more than you want so that you can whittle it down to something manageable? That is the Trump doctrine. Ask for the moon. For even if you miss, you should land among the stars. Or something like that on an inspirational poster sitting behind me on the wall in the office. Hang in there, baby. You got a cat hanging onto something. If Trump asked you for $1 trillion, cut it in half. Cut it by 2/3. Kick it back from the Senate. Cut it by 2/3. He knew he wasn't going to get $1 trillion. That's why he asked for it. Or he really does want to do it. The only reason why I've reluctantly said, let's do the budget and move on and just get on with it is because we have 16 years of Obama infiltration, destruction, infrastructure, money laundering, bribery, kickbacks, payoffs, and deep state influence to combat at a time where the deep state will not let us negotiate peace. You got Mike Pompeo, Lindsey Graham, Blumenthal, and their ilk. They go to Ukraine one day before a massive ramp up. It is the United States deep state attacking Russia. It's not Ukraine. Never has been. So at a time where World War III is at our footsteps, and I don't want that to happen. I'm guessing maybe you have reasonable bones in your body and you don't want that to happen either. That doesn't mean a damn thing to the deep state, the military-industrial complex. The blood of the fallen greases the axles, greases the gears of the war machine. Now, I'm no hippy-dippy peace love man. But, I mean, shouldn't we be aiming at that if we can? So if Trump's asking for a big budget for a golden dome to build the damn wall, by the way, remember Congress said, oh, there's no money to build a wall. $5 billion to build the wall and secure America? We don't have that. We don't have that to spend. You don't? How many hundreds of billions have been flushed down the toilet given to Ukraine? With no repayment terms? It's pure piracy. Piracy, theft, grand theft, government. So to combat that and to make sure we are in fighting shape, just like a pudgy prize fighter, you got to get back into fighting shape. Hit your fighting weight. Get back. America's way off track. We're not just a little off-roading. We haven't seen the freeway in miles. We went off the 5 connecting Los Angeles and Vegas. We took an off-ramp at Zizek's Road, and we've been off-roading, just trashing our suspension for years. Good luck getting back. So if the president needs some money in the war chest to get things back on track, I can sort of understand it. If we can do that double reduction next year, say front load my expenditures for next year to this year, and maybe pass a 2-year budget. and say, we're locking it in for 2 years. I'm cutting next term. Give me a second. I got to put some infrastructure in place, because this infrastructure in place is going to generate the jobs that will help balance out the economy. Our trade deals, our all this, that, the other. So I'm torn. I was for it before I was against it. I was against it before I was for it. We're learning about the big, beautiful bill. We're trying to figure out the best path forward. We're going to discuss it on today's show. So is it just a part of the act? Maybe. Yeah, Elon is not happy with the bill. Yes, it's a Thursday, which of course means no arrests from Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, and Dan Bongino. Oh, shucks. Now, to be fair, there have been a couple arrests. There have been some sting operations, something, but we're talking about like the deep state. Where are the treasonous actors going to be held accountable? Fauci for his crimes against humanity, Biden for impersonating a president, Obama for all of his treasonous activity for X, Y, Z, A, B, C, D, E, F. Over and Hillary Clinton, the DNC, Russiagate, the FISA abuses. Where is the justice for this stuff? Yeah, they have made some progress. They have made some arrests, and some good things have happened, but not enough. And we are past the point of waiting on a plan, trusting a plan. Oh, no, we got more stuff to get in place. We don't know if we're going to have the Congress. Now, I don't know how anybody with a 19% approval rating, I don't know how Democrats think they're going to win seats. But have we done enough to remove fake people from the Social Security database and shore up our voting systems to ensure that we're going to get a reliable result when it's time to vote in the midterm? So go right now. Yes, Thursday, no arrests. David says they're saying Elon's not happy because of the substantial cuts to money going toward electric cars. I don't know. I mean, you're in Canada. Are Elon and Trump hated in Canada? I don't know. I mean, I know when Trump started going after Justin Trudeau, and saying we're going to buy Canada, there was like a sharp reaction, like, the hell you are. I don't like Trump, and that Elon too. You know, I don't know. Are they universally liked or disliked in Canada? I don't know if you can really answer that, but just curious what your thought is. I don't know how much they're going to cut electric cars. Electric cars are popular. Who was I listening to? Scott Adams. By the way, wellness check. He didn't do his show yesterday. He does every day. And he's told us that he's dying. As we all are, I suppose. But he has a terminal condition. Essentially, he has what Biden has. And so when he didn't do his show yesterday, I went, oh, Lord. Because Scott Adams finally told us what he's been going through, because Biden's thing came out. He goes, I figured this would be a good time. So just like I did for the return of David's awesome cat, Spiral, I'll say a prayer. Dear Lord, Heavenly Father, if it be in your will, look after comedian and cartoonist and podcaster, political pundit, and American thinker Scott Adams, to grant him strength and peace and all the best medical innovations that can be located on planet Earth. Save him if you can, and if you can't, make him comfortable and strong. And let him know how much he's appreciated. In your name we pray, amen. But yeah, so Scott Adams had a missing show yesterday, and I've been listening to his show for a long time. So thoughts and prayers going out over there. All right, so electric cars. Yeah, Scott Adams yesterday was talking about innovations to electric car batteries, where you can inject some sort of fluid or something into an old battery and get a dead battery, or something that's at 80% capacity, which essentially turns it into a dead battery, into a battery you can keep. These ones are designed for about 15 years, but it's like with an internal gas combustion engine, these things will run forever if you take care of them. You see well-built cars, certain Toyotas, certain trucks. I mean, they'll go for 500,000 miles. They'll go for 1 million miles or more if you take care of them. So, I think we need to keep innovating. But yeah, I think the electric cars are super popular. I think it's the most popular selling car, at least the cheap version of the Tesla, I believe. Lindsay is definitely a warmonger, but you don't like Foo Graham. Yeah, I don't like him for his for his political stuff. I don't care about any of his personal stuff. But good Lord, could you imagine the skeletons in that dude's closet? Everybody talks about it, but nobody really elaborates on it. Okay, good point. If there is a plan, maybe Elon is not in the know. Possible. I don't know, though. Elon's pretty much one of his most trusted confidants at this point. But we'll see. Trump is classically the four-dimensional chess champion, allegedly. In Canada, many people are still under heavy mind control. That is beautiful. Beautiful. I mean, that is terrifying. Why did I come up with beautiful? That is horrific. How did beautiful stretch out? And you hope Scott is okay. Yeah, Scott said, he's getting close to the end of the line. President Trump called him multiple times. He let him go to voicemail. He's like, the president didn't just call him. He's like, I won't take up his time. I won't call him back. And then he called him again. He's like, you got to be kidding me. So he said, if there's anything you need. And so I guess Scott did find some sort of experimental treatment that took his odds of survival from 0 to maybe 10%. So I don't know. Thoughts and prayers for sure. It's amazing how many people in Canada drive Teslas. Yeah. Until the deep state started attacking Elon and that company. I mean, it's a cool concept. Just plug it in, charge it up, and go. That's what I do with my lawnmower. I don't want stinky, loud gasoline if I don't have to. Then again, it makes the world go around. So pick your poison. All right. Let's jump into the news stories. First off, just a reminder at the bottom of the screen. This is, as I said, the TNAM Daily Show here on the New American Media. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Truth Social, Rumble, Odysee, Twitch, Kick, DLive, and YouTube at The New American Media. We're on Telegram and Signal at TNAM and TNAM Chat. We're on X at American_media_. And we ask you to subscribe to our podcast at the Agree to Disagree Show on Spotify and Apple. Spotify and Apple. Hey, let me share something with you. I put this out yesterday. I don't do a lot of shorts. Share the screen. Here we are. But I did this short yesterday. I just want to play it for you. I think it's fairly concise, under a minute long, but it really encapsulates the topic of yesterday's program. Please share this. Please like this. And move this message out there. Here we go. Well, as you know, June is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, and this is Cy Young Award-winning pitcher Trevor Bauer, who's been completely vindicated, yet is still unemployed by Major League Baseball. His agent, Rachel Luba, explains. Trevor has now won his lawsuit against Lindsey Hill for falsely claiming that Bauer paid her a monetary amount to settle their original lawsuit. Now she's ordered to pay him $309,000 in damages. Sarah Gonzalez says Trevor Bauer was blacklisted from MLB because of an allegation from a gold digger named Lindsey Hill, a woman with an inconsistent story and shady evidence, who told a friend about Bauer, quote, need daddy to choke me out, being an absolute whore to try to get in on his $51 million, end quote. We need to normalize not ruining lives based on allegations. We need to wait and see if someone is actually convicted before we ruin their lives. Make it happen. So that's my message to humanity in a nice nutshell, a little. Oh. All right, stop. There we go. That started auto-playing. I'm rooting for Trevor Bauer to get back into the big leagues. He was framed. He was wrongly accused of stuff. They ruined his life without evidence. And that's just not how we're supposed to be handling things. It's just not. So let's take a moment during Men's Mental Health Awareness Month to realize what is going on on an epidemic level for our men. Half of the country. That's what June is about. June is about Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. And I'm glad that we're prioritizing this finally. Half of our population. It impacts all of us, the mental health of our men in America. So, All right, let me. Actually, I can scroll backward here. I don't think I shared these stories with you. Sorry, I'm scrolling backward right now to figure out what stories I want to bring to you on today's program. I guess I'll start at the top. Let's go ahead and share this. By the way, hit like, hit subscribe, however you're watching. And please, drop your name, drop your comments into what is this? Drop your comments. Okay, I don't know what that is. I'll have to deal with that later. Sorry, getting these notifications on one of my screens. Okay, let's get into the info. Now that you've subscribed, here is the tip jar if you like what you're seeing here. We're on Patreon. Monthly subscribers help us know each month that we're going to get donations to help pay certain bills. And man, there have been a ton over the past couple of years. We're on Patreon at The New American Media. Venmo and Cash App if you want to send something over into the tip jar at BrianEngelman, spelled down below, Engelman, and PayPal at Fuzz Installments. Bella's Chance, great short. I like shorts. Was it on YouTube? Yes. But it's weird because I uploaded it as a file, but I'm like, no, I wanted it as a short. So then I uploaded another as a short, but neither of these show that it's technically as a short. I don't know what's going on. I edited it from the studio instead of just uploading from my phone, but it didn't give me the option to go as a video or as a short. So I don't know. I don't know what. But yeah, it's tricky. I did maybe 20 different takes. It's like, oh, it's so easy. These people talk all day. They can just do what it's like. No, it takes. I've had to follow this story for a long time. I had to put the graphics in place. I had to have everything in line and saying it properly. And there's a phrase in the report that I read that I really had. I had to be, well, anyway. Yeah, it takes. To get 60 seconds of usable material, you'll be surprised how many takes it takes sometimes. All right, let's get into the news. Hit like, hit subscribe, all those things. Here we go. Rand Paul. He says, if the big, beautiful bill was solely about making the 2017 tax cuts permanent, I wouldn't be a yes. I'd be a hell yes. Unfortunately, that's not the reality with this bill. It includes the largest increase of the debt ceiling ever, and we will have the United States borrowing $5 trillion over the next 2 years. This bill is the opposite of conservative, and we should not pass it. So, the question, you will not be surprised to hear me ask, do you agree or disagree with Rand Paul? I'm in. I'm in with Rand Paul. I agree. And yeah, keep this in mind. June is Men's Mental Health Month. A man leaves this earth by his own hand every minute. That's not okay. When you think of June, think of Men's Mental Health Month. Half of our country. And really, globally. This is a global thing. Half of humanity. Trevor Bauer had his life ruined on an allegation, an unfounded, unproven, unverified allegation, life destroyed. That's not okay. And we have to normalize changing policies so we never let that happen again. We're innocent unless proven guilty. And of course, men struggle with a million things. Check out Kevin Love when he was on the Cleveland Cavaliers. He openly discussed his mental health challenges. And I appreciate his candidness opening up and speaking about that. Because look, if Robin Williams can have problems, if 100 millionaire athletes with good looks can have problems, I mean, anybody can have problems. And there's something in our society that's been anti-man, anti-male for decades now. It has stopped, it has reversed, but not far enough. We've maybe stopped moving in the direction of crazy, but it's time to grab that wheel and spin it back. I mean, this is our chance to put some sanity back into things. You know, I haven't been involved in a custodial fight over a child, but I know many men who have. I haven't been taken to the cleaners in a divorce, although I was divorced. It was fairly amiable, I suppose. As amiable as one of those goes. Although it does sort of destroy your willingness to ever believe in the concept of marriage again when you can so willy-nilly just bail on a lifetime contract like that. And you wonder, why are marriages failing? Why are men reluctant to get married? Why are men reluctant to have children? Why are men this and that? Why this, that, why that? Well, examine the court system. There's a whole men's rights movement with childcare, with custody, rather. The odds are completely stacked against the men. The men work the jobs that are the most risky, the most dangerous, whether it's military, whether it's heavy industrial construction. You know, there's a laundry list of things we could dig in on with June being Mental Health Month for men. That's what we're going to think of as June month, mental health, men. That's what we're focused on. Maybe I should do a deep dive into this. Maybe I should get a guest who's written books on this. See, if I had a booker, I would just say, hey, give me someone who's written a book on this. Let's get her in as a guest. It's just there's only so many hours in the day, and I got a million things to do. So if any of you want to be my booker, just shoot me a message. Anyway, let's continue. June is Men's Mental Health Month. Pass it on. All right, what is this story? Let's take a listen. This seems fairly important.
Fox News alert, and another suspect arrested in connection with last month's car bombing at a fertility clinic in Palm Springs, California.
Huh. Did you even hear this story? Allegedly supplying, well, here, let's just listen.
32-year-old Daniel Park was arrested in Poland and extradited to JFK Airport in New York City last night. He is now at the Brooklyn Federal Court to determine if he goes back to California in custody or will be released on bond to travel on his own. The U.S. Attorney in Los Angeles laying out the evidence against him. Listen here.
Why did this guy end up in Poland?
Law enforcement learned that Park spent approximately 2 weeks visiting Barkis's residence in 29 Palms in late January and early February of this year, spending time together, running experiments in Barkis's garage. We also know that Park, days after the bombing, left the United States to go to Europe.
That car bomb attack gutted a fertility center and shattered the windows of nearby buildings.
What's wrong with a fertility center? I know people who work at fertility centers. What's wrong with having babies? Why is this guy anti-baby? You can understand, you don't have to agree, and I'm not advocating, but you can understand why someone might attack an abortion clinic because they're terminating sovereign human life. You can argue that doesn't happen until a viable birth occurs outside of the uterus. Then when that baby takes its first breath and can breathe on its own, then it's an actual life. Otherwise, it's just a clump of cells. All right, fine. I get that perspective. But you can understand where someone would say, look, you are executing a human life. We need to get rid of this facility. You could understand why somebody would, once again, not advocating and not encouraging people to go after abortion clinics, but you at least understand they are ending life, so we need to end this facility. This fertility clinic is creating life. Why would you attack a clinic that's helping create life? Purely satanic, purely Satanism, purely what? I don't understand the motives. There's a lot to this story I don't fully understand. Once again, not advocating for violence. I'm saying I understand it. I understand the perspective, even if I don't agree with it. I don't understand the perspective or the motivation here on this case yet.
The FBI said that the main suspect.
This is from May 17th, May, June, 2-3 weeks ago. I don't remember this story. if I covered this story, it happened so fast. As a side note, I don't remember even covering it.
Died in the attack.
Oh, okay. So somebody did die in this. All right. Well, extradited to JFK. Wait, they gave this guy a bond? Is he a Chinese agent? Thank you, Poland. And birthright citizenship. Maybe this will be a great example. I'm reading the comments here. Man, the feds can get some stuff done when they spend their time solving crimes instead of planning them. Ooh. Where's the same urgency with crooks and that slob in Florida? All right, good point. All right, well, there you go. I didn't really have that story on my radar. All right, what do you make of Dave Portnoy? Did you see this? I'm going to play this for you. So Alexander Augustine posts this and says, Dave Portnoy he's the head of Barstool Sports, often seen on Fox News. Super wealthy. Sold his company for a boatload, bought it back for $1. Huge gambler. Huge supporter of Israel. So he's on this podcast, and let's just let it play. I don't know. I don't know what other context to tell you. That's who Dave Portnoy is. And they're talking about comedy. So here you go.
Hey, Kirk, if you just want me to kick him out, not mention it, not care that this kid is anti-Semitic, shut up. If you just want me to ignore it.
Don't tell me to shut up.
Shut the fuck up, you bald fuck.
Okay, go ahead.
How's that?
What?
Oh, it's kill. I'll never recover from that, Dave. Go ahead, continue. I'll never recover.
Well, you're the one who big boss man, don't tell. I'll tell you work for me.
Okay, go ahead, continue.
You little bitch, you work for me.
Sure, you bet. For now,
Oh, you
continue.
don't? For now, quit. I don't care. I'll
Is
take 500 grand.
this a show or not a show? Like, is it a show or not a show? Like, we can't have a conversation?
You're an idiot.
Okay, continue.
You're literally saying people should be allowed to make Jew jokes, say whatever they want right fucking now.
Yes, I think people should be allowed to make jokes.
So there's your question. Are people allowed to make jokes? I mean, are we really debating? Are people allowed to make jokes? I guess that's where we're at. I guess that's where we are. So let's ask the question as a statement. I agree that we should all be allowed to make jokes. Do you agree or disagree that we should all be allowed to make jokes? I've become a stand-up fucking comedian. I've always wanted to. I always crack jokes, but trying to get on stage and actually doing it, at least once a week, couple times a week, getting on stage and just letting it rip and trying to learn, trying to put sets together. If you don't have allowances to unpack uncomfortable feelings and humor, letting tension out of the room, and yes, even going on rants that can go weird and uncomfortable, that's humor. That's the exploration of humor. I support that completely. If Dave Portnoy disagrees, Dave Portnoy can disagree. It's not going to change my mind. Yes, we can make jokes about everything. Everything. Nobody has a special cloak of invisibility. And, I used to say the same thing. Like the Democrats, I remember would bring a gold star father or something up on their stage at the Democratic convention. Trying to remember when I covered that story. It's probably every year. Because they think these are unimpeachable, impeccable. I'm trying to figure out which adjective I'm trying to use here. Unassailable. If somebody's a gold star mother or father, they think you can't refute what they have to say. Well, what you're going to attack a gold star father? Well, the guy lost his son, for the love of God. His son is dead. Right. Continue. So you can't just go attack him. He's a gold star father. It doesn't make him Captain America. It doesn't make him invincible. It doesn't make him smart, sharp, savvy, or accurate. I can attack whoever I want to attack. Based on the words that are coming out of their mouth, if they're spewing gibberish, I'm allowed to say whatever I want. about the things that a Gold Star mother or father is saying. Well, I can't. Oh, they sunk to new lows. They attacked a Gold Star father. No, you brought up a Gold Star father because you thought you couldn't criticize them because they were a member of a protected group. Ron DeSantis pushing hate speech laws, and you can't make jokes and you can't say certain things about certain stuff. That's not American. That's not okay. The First Amendment allows us to say whatever we want. Then we can choose to associate with the people that we choose to associate with. And if you don't like it, change the channel. That's how America works. These DeSantis bills, and you can't say this and you can't say that. I can say whatever the hell I want. So I'm going to agree that we're allowed to make jokes and we're allowed to make comedic deliveries to our audiences, free from censorship. David agrees. You should be able to make jokes. I agree. And you know what? I've sat through a bunch of comedians. A lot of them are, a lot of it's pretty shitty. And I've probably contributed my fair of shitty comedy as well. I mean, how many minutes can you really tolerate of Bobby Kennedy jokes? I've done entire sets of Bobby Kennedy. Number one, I don't know too many people doing a Bobby Kennedy. Did I say number one? Number two, I've received some feedback like, that's the funniest thing I've heard in a long time. How do you sound exactly like him? And people remember it. So I'm kind of fiddling with it, trying to find it. But yeah, you can make jokes, even bad jokes. And I've sat through a lot of bad comedy and a lot of cringe comedy and a lot of like uncomfortable, vitriolic, going after whatever group style of comedy. Because that's comedy. You're letting it rip. It's all just, we're trying things out, seeing what works. I mean, Michael Richards did stand up and somebody was recording it and he was getting heckled and he went on an angry rant and it ruined his career. Did he earn that? I mean, I couldn't imagine saying the stuff he said. I don't, that are there allowances when you're on a stage and you're becoming a literal character? Because you're not yourself on stage, you're a character. And I've seen Bill Burr talking about, yeah, I don't know. Don't ask me. I'm just a comic. I don't know. Yeah, but when he goes on ABC, he's bashing Elon. He's talking shit about Trump. He's praising the firefighting efforts from Karen Bass and Gavin Newsom in California. He's super political with ABC, ESPN, Disney. He works for Disney on The Mandalorian. They're cutting him his checks. ABC with Jimmy Kimmel. He's a mouthpiece for the deep state. Bill Burr. I don't know. He's got an opinion on everything unless you're trying to hold his feet to the fire and try to get him to answer for some of the crazy shit he's saying. I don't know. Bill Burr's really rubbed me the wrong way for several reasons. I've watched ABC, ESPN, Disney take people out. Jimmy Kimmel used to be funny. I can't remember the last time Jimmy Kimmel was funny. So, yeah, I agree. The comedy should be allowed. Bella's Chance says, agree. We should make all jokes, including both Jew and Muslim jokes. Remember South Park when they drew Muhammad? Oh my gosh, you can't dare. Yeah, it's cool to mock Christ every single day, everywhere I look. That's allowable. But how dare you touch that's a protected group of people. You can't make jokes about this group or about that group. You can make jokes about anything. Ricky Gervais and have done some Jimmy Carr. I've heard a lot of comics with some really nice bits about being offended. And yeah, you can make whatever joke you want. Actually, I wonder if I can find that Jimmy Carr bit. That one is maybe the best. I'm going to do a short detour. Here we go. Search. Jimmy Carr offended. Please tell me I can find this bit on X. No, that is his offensive joke. Oh. Hang on. Where is it at? Oh, come on. Don't fail me now. can't find it. Let me try YouTube. Just give me 1 sec. Jimmy Carr offended bit. Tell me I can find it. Oh, hang on. I got another way to type this. Hey, Jamie, pull up that joke. Yeah. All right. Share this tab instead. This is so great. Oh, this is so good. Jimmy a break. Jimmy a break. Break me off a piece of that Kit Kat bar. Jimmy a break. Whoo! What's up, Kenneth? You got me singing already. All right, here's Jimmy Carr. Perfect thing about offensive jokes. This bit is just so good.
I can't go around apologizing for jokes. They're jokes. So I've got a plan. The next time I get cancelled over a joke, the next time I upset people with a joke, I'm going to come out on the day of the cancellation. I'm going to make a statement, a public statement. I'm going to say, I've rehearsed this. I'm going to say, I'm sorry. And the people that I've offended will say, you don't really mean that apology. And I'll say, so you're saying I could say something and not mean it. Now you're getting it.
So you're saying...
And the people that I've offended will say, you don't really mean that apology. And I'll say, so you're saying I could say something and not mean it. Now you're getting it.
That applause continues. That's a great, great bit. All right, let's continue with Dave Portnoy here. He's saying you shouldn't be able to make jokes, certain jokes about certain people. Other jokes are fine, but certain people you can't joke about. Dave continues.
So how many motherfucking Jews have to be killed before you stop? Hey, Kirk, if you just want me to kick him out, not mention it, not care that this kid...
Oh, okay. I thought this was a much longer clip. I'll just add normalize jokes again. Nobody has an invisibility cloak that shields them from jokes. Deal with it. Joke more often. The world needs more laughter, not less. There we go. Anyway, I thought that was a much longer rant, but there you go. So, either jokes are okay or they're not. Rodney Smith there, shifting gears. Jimmy a break. Rodney Smith. Okay, I got to put my disclaimer up here. For countervailing views on health and elections, please visit cdc.gov, who.int, and cisa.gov/rumor control, because they might disagree with a whole bunch of what Rodney Smith has to say. He says, so the vaccine was in fact confirmed pointless. The virus has been proven to have come from a lab, and Biden was in fact mentally incapacitated. Mainstream media confirms. So to my longtime friends that called me a right-winger and a conspiracy theorist and cut me off, are we cool now? I want to ask you in the comments something Scott asked on his show a couple days ago. Have you lost friends or family in your life that you don't talk to anymore because of politics? If you're joining this show, I think you're one of the smart ones. I would assume it's your friend or family member that's a little out to lunch. You wouldn't be able to tolerate me for very long if you disagreed with most of what I was saying. So I'm assuming you're all fairly educated, fairly sharp, smart, articulate, honest, discerning humans. That's my working assumption here. But in the comments, tell me, have any of you lost friends or family because of politics? Oh, I thought of a couple people instantly. I'm messaging one of them actively, someone I have really fallen out of contact with, and they've gone like into sort of down Crazyville lane. And it's like, trying to have a conversation, but it's like talking to MSNBC. All right, so Razor Fist put this out. Let me ask, how do you feel about this one? He says, let's give a moment of silence for the standing army of Biden body doubles. By the way, countervailing views, CISA.gov. They'll tell you Biden is not a clone, and he's not a robot, and he's not an actor in a skin suit. So, look, this guy looks very different. Blunted nose, fat nostrils. I don't know what version of Biden we were getting here. This Skeletor version. Then you got like the tall head version. The big eyes version, pointy nose. What do you think? President Trump put something out there talking about that Biden was replaced by a robot or clones. I think he said by clones. And that's been going around for a while. And we've seen various versions of Biden. We wondered if that medical incident that happened in Vegas wasn't where he left us. Oh, there's a lot of rumors and conspiracies, because you know why? The same people who told us, oh, Biden's fine, he's healthy, he's totally with it. We saw in 2019 he wasn't all there. He couldn't campaign. He wasn't. Trump was filling stadiums. They could barely put 18 people in some semicircles, socially distanced by 6 feet. Trump's selling out 20, 30,000 seat arenas. Biden couldn't even compete in the election in 2020. So yeah. I don't know. Come on now. Are we convinced Biden was a robot or a clone or a body double? Are we? Kenneth chimes in and says, most of my friends are mostly conservative. Yeah, probably agreed. Here's the story of a bot named Biden. And we're singing today, aren't we? Bella's Chance says, oh, yes, I've lost a good friend over my strong support for President Trump. So sad. Yeah, me too. He's like, take down all those videos we've done over the years. I don't want my name attached to anything. You support an insurrectionist. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? You know, we trudge through our relationship these days. Don't really bring up the important issues. I don't really see much of a point. I try more than he does. But that's the case of the right versus the left, isn't it? David's gotten into plenty of fights over the truth, yeah? Yeah. Oh, what is that quote? In the beginning, let me see if I can find it. In the beginning, I think it's a Sunshine Patriot quote. Let's see if I can find it. Let me see if Grok can find it, since I can't find it through an X search. In the beginning, let's see. No, that's not it. For then it costs nothing to be a patriot. Jamie, pull up that quote about the patriot. Can't find it. Thomas Paine's The Crisis. The summer soldier and the sunshine patriot will in this crisis shrink from the service of their country, but he that stands by it now deserves the love and the thanks of man and woman. For then it costs nothing to tell the truth. can't find the quote. Whatever. Moving on. Is Biden a robot or a clone or a body double? Straight up question. You, in your heart of hearts, if like we're not just look, I have recreational views that are fun to think about because it's like I don't know what. Why not? Maybe something could be happening. I hold recreational views. I don't really believe it. I wouldn't put $100 bet on it. But if I were asking you with Joe Biden, the person who stammered out there a week or two ago, come on, man, you know the thing. Read the diary. Read the with Ashley. The inappropriate showers. Come on, man. Is that the actual legitimate Biden from the 80s, or has something happened along the way? Have we seen Biden body doubles, robots, actors, clones, or have we not? Yes or no? Same Biden from the 80s, or have we seen our share of robots, clones, actors, stuntmen filling in for Biden at any point? If I had to put your feet to the fire, $20, you got to place a bet. Where do you put the bet? Kind of curious. Yeah, Bella, President Trump did say Biden was taken out. Did he repost that? Fine. Let me just pull it up here. Trump says Biden replaced. No, not that. Come on. No. Having a hard time searching for what I'm searching for. This is what it would be nice to have a Jamie. Hey, Jamie, pull that up. Now, I covered it a couple days ago. Trump posts about Biden being replaced. Robotic clones. Where's it at? Is this it? All right, here, let's just share this. I think this is it. Donald John Trump posted, there is no Joe Biden, executed in 2020. Biden clones, doubles, and robot engineered, soulless, mindless entities are what you see. Democrats don't know the difference. Truth Social, LIJH or something. Looks like a repost, maybe? Executed in 2020. LILJH. I don't know who that is. But yeah, this was posted on Truth Social by President Trump. Executed, replaced by clones. Anyway, that's pretty wild, huh? Biden, a Muppet. All right, let's continue. Dana Lash chiming in about the budget and Trump. Is he picking the wrong horse here?
I think Trump was wrong to go after Rand Paul because Rand Paul has been one of the animating deliverers of his agenda.
Most of the Republicans, not me, voted to continue the Biden spending levels in March. So we're operating under a continuing resolution which originated as Biden spending levels. You remember Republicans saying, Bidenomics, Biden inflation, Biden this, Biden that. Well, they voted for that in March.
He has delivered, he has helped make Trump's agenda a conservative one. He said, quote, Rand Paul has very little understanding of the BBB, especially the tremendous growth that is coming. He loves voting no on everything. He thinks it's good politics, but it's not. The BBB is a big winner. His ideas are actually crazy. Losers. The people of Kentucky can't stand him. This is a big growth bill. Well, they can stand him because he's overwhelmingly popular.
He is. So is Thomas Massey. So Trump, what are you doing? Stop attacking the only handful of decent members in Congress and negotiate. You're the art of the deal. Negotiate a deal. You asked for $1 trillion, expect 1/3 of that. Why are you attacking Massey and Paul, who are two of the best we have? I agree with Dana. Do you agree with me? In fact, I do agree with me.
I'm all about strategy, and I'm completely open to being persuaded to that. But it's not my responsibility to persuade myself. It's the other people with the opposing ideas, their responsibility to persuade me and all of you out there. And if they're not able to do that, I guarantee you that going public and calling someone a loser is definitely not going to do it. I don't know what's crazy, wanting to save people money. I guess it's crazy to expect lawmakers to actually hold fast to the promises that they make to the people. And they forget that you are their boss. They work for you. I don't care what they bring to the table. I don't care about their star power. I don't care how much money they have in the bank. I don't care how they dress, who they screw, what they do. I don't care. What are they doing for us? They work for us. I think Trump was wrong.
Trump was wrong for that. We're not a cult. We call out things as we see it. And this guy says the same exact thing that I just said. I'll let him cook here. But Bella says, it's not the same Biden from the 80s, in my humble opinion. I really wonder who and what he was. We'll never know. David says we could all see that Biden was a strange creature. Oh, strange in every metric. Yes. So here you go. This is the Damian Felder. There we go. So this is why some Trump voters don't support the big, beautiful bill.
Look, I voted for Trump, and I'll be the first to tell you that I'm not down with this big, beautiful bill. And let me tell you why. People say all the time, oh, you Trump supporters are in a cult. No, we're not, because we are not in blind obedience to one individual. We are more than willing and happy to criticize our own, and that is how it should be in the political arena. We see so much in this big, beautiful bill that actually is the opposite of much of what we actually voted for. We see a continued increase in spending, unnecessary spending. Not only that, but we also see the increase in encroachment of AI. We see funding of pet projects that we do not agree with. And we are going to raise our voices against it, as any well-educated electorate should do. You know, Elon Musk is right in calling it a disgusting abomination. And I think that the Trump administration needs to realize just how damaging it will be if we wind up passing this bill, continue this trend of wasteful spending, and then wonder why individuals don't show up in the midterms to vote for this continued irresponsibility. The reason people voted for Trump is because we want to see fiscal responsibility. We want to see an end to waste, fraud, and abuse. And we don't want Republicans to say one thing and do another. That's what people on the left are very accustomed to, is their politicians saying one thing and doing another. They're just used to it at this point. They have Stockholm syndrome. But we demand better, as we should. That's why I myself, and many others like me, do not agree with this big, beautiful bill and want to see it actually redrafted.
Yeah, time to redraft it. So this guy, was he articulate? Do you agree or disagree? I'm going to agree. That's a pretty salient point he was making. I'm in. Here, let's hear this. I'm going to look this up, see if I get some additional context, because I have a certain affinity against eminent domain, since my family home was at the center of a controversy for the past couple of years. A neighboring city tried to drive a what would we call it? We called it the interchange, to turn an established residential neighborhood into a dumping ground off the freeway, to connect the freeway right into this quiet residential neighborhood. Spent 2 years getting it removed from the transportation bill. Eventually it did, but yeah, this eminent domain stuff, you know, it's one thing if the powers that be say, look, if you're impacted by this, you're going to essentially hit the lottery. You'll get double the value of your house. You will have to move, but we're going to make it worth your while. We'll give you, $10K for a moving company. We'll give you double the value of your home. We're going to have to demolish it. We're ruining the neighborhood, but you'll come out ahead. That's not how they do it, though. They really try to ruin you financially and ruin your life. And it's just like, get out of here with that stuff. So I'm going to look up this story while he tells us about what's happening in Cranberry, New Jersey.
Cranberry, New Jersey seeks to take away and seize a 175-year-old family farm from Andy Henry, whose great-grandfather bought the place back in the 1850s. It's been a family farm ever since. They've been great stewards of the land. Generations have grown up there farming the land, taking care of animals, and now they want to put them under an eminent domain, strip the land from them, kick them off the property, and all for what? Affordable housing? You got to be kidding me, right? We need to be calling the county offices, telling them to get out of there. This is something that they do not want to get into. You don't just go in and strip people of their livelihood and then expect everything to be okay. Something's going to happen. So if you guys can, please share this message around. We need to be aware of what's going on and what's happening and what counties are really capable of doing. They can just go in, put you under an eminent domain and strip your land from you. This is a joke. So if you guys can, please share it around. And as always, guys, buy American, buy local, and God bless.
I looked it up, and yes, that is happening. They want to put Section 8, a bunch of low-income, low-rent homes, just steal this family farm and just put in slums. Well, what do you mean? We need more affordable housing. Yeah, nobody wants to live next to it. Nobody. Ask around. Ask a homeowner anywhere. Do you want to live next to Section 8 housing? I lived in the middle of it for a long time. There are specific nonstop challenges when that's what you have. No, you don't just steal someone's farm and go, this would be a nice place for shitty little apartments subsidized on Section 8 housing or whatever policy your local municipality wants to call it. Nothing against people that need help either. Just nobody wants to live next to it. And by the way, you don't just steal somebody's farm to throw it there. Go find a space. Go buy a space. You don't kick a guy off his property who's been there for 175 years. This is a BLM story sequel. Bureau of Land Management, the Bundy Ranch. Blake and I went out to the Bundy Ranch. Raise your hand if you've ever watched footage when Blake and I were at the Bundy Ranch interviewing Pete Santilli and some of the Clive and Bundy family and people that were out there when they were sicking dogs on pregnant women, shooting and killing cows from helicopters, snipers positioned on mountain ranges because they wanted to kick this guy and his cattle off of the land that's BLM managed land. Just think it's like a big open park. It's just a big open pasture. How dare those cows continue to graze and eat that grass and drink water at the water troughs because the family put in water systems and catch basins so they could have water to drink and they ate some grass. Like, they weren't running a meth lab. They weren't having an illegal alien underground nightclub like you're seeing these raids all across the country. They weren't harming anybody, and they started getting messed with. And what happened? This guy's alluding to it. Things are going to happen. I believe yesterday was Killdozer Day. When they pushed a man too far, they said eminent domain, and they were going to ruin this guy's business. And he fought it as long as he could. And he said sometimes reasonable men have to take unreasonable actions. Once again, the theme of today's show is not that I advocate for any radical positions. It's just I'm trying to put myself in the mindset of the person that is driven to the point of resisting, driven to the point of opposing what's happening. Yeah, that's a kick in the cranberry. Anyway, that's a story I was unaware of. Let's stay on top of it, shall we? All right, what is this? Leading report posts. Elon Musk has reportedly backed pause this. Elon Musk endorses a proposal to bar all sitting members of Congress from re-election if the deficit exceeds 3% of U.S. GDP. Is that real? Oh, hold on. Before I go to this, if I share you this tab, this is that farmer. I'm guessing.
The Henry family has farmed their land for 175 years, and now the town of Cranberry wants to take it by eminent domain. The community is coming together, friends, neighbors, strangers, everyone for one purpose, to say history matters, legacy matters.
Okay, so this is a story.
Cranberry, New Jersey stands for heritage, hard work, and heart. I'm asking everybody in town to do what I am doing and others. Hold the line, help the farm, honor their home.
So this is happening. This is a whole thing. Here's the report.
175-year-old family farm is uncertain right now. The farm's owner says it's not for sale, but Cranberry Township is moving to seize it by eminent domain. News 12 New Jersey's Naomi Yane speaking with the owner.
My grandfather and my mother were both born in that house, so it holds a lot of significance for me.
Andy Henry.
What am I looking at? Is that a graphic that's supposed to look like there's a phone on a post, or is that an actual phone on the post? What am I looking at? Oh, you need to recall anybody that's trying to steal this guy's farm for eminent domain. Recall these people immediately. Civil rights violations. You got the right to live your life free from being messed with. I cleaned the language up there in real time. I was going to drop a more colorful word, but I changed.
He gets choked up as he talks about his family farm where he grew up, and its legacy goes back nearly 2 centuries.
My grandfather died in 1936, and it was only my mother and my grandmother who were there to run that farm for many years. It's always been in farming, and we want to keep it that way.
Andy Henry's family has owned the farm on South River Road in Cranberry since 1850. On April 24th, he and his brother, who co-owns the farm, got a letter from the town's attorneys that said they want to take the farm by eminent domain, which in short is the acquisition of private property for public use. Earlier this month, the township passed an ordinance to acquire the 21-acre farm.
You don't just acquire what isn't yours. What is wrong with these people? Oh, the amount of disdain I have for a local official that just wants to steal a family property farm. Man, they're tempting me to get on a flight and head out there myself.
To build affordable housing.
To build affordable housing.
Not against, but it seems like not a good place for it.
For 60 years, we've always been an inclusive community where we made sure that any of the affordable housing units we've done have always been in the residential area, so it's an integrated community.
According to those fighting to save the property, the Henry farm is surrounded by warehouses and building affordable units in the, quote, industrial part of town.
Wow, that does really butt up to the... I mean, look, if I'm looking at it, yeah, I mean, you're boxed in a industrial parkway. Cool. That's awesome that he's held on for a couple hundred years. That's great. Leave him alone. You want to make him an offer to pay him double what it's worth, make him the offer. If he rejects it, offer him triple. If he rejects it, offer him 4 times what it's worth. And work with him to show him we could move your family farm over here and you'll have a bunch of resources to build a current up-to-date family farm, all the tractor equipment that you need. We'll slide you over here. We'll help you get into this property, equal acreage. Work with him, not against him. I am so against just trying to strong arm a family to steal their shit. So against this.
Would inconvenience the families living in those units.
We're putting them in an industrial zone right off the New Jersey Turnpike where you smell the turnpike, you hear the warehouse noise. Someone needing to go to the post office has to walk 2 miles to drop off a package. It's about doing what's right for our neighbors and treating people the way we would want to be treated if we were in that circumstance.
In the over a decade that Andy and his brother have owned the property, developers have offered $20 to $30 million to buy the farm. And to that, Andy said and continues to say,
I don't want to give up the farm. I don't want to give up the property. It's been with us too long. There's too much history there. It's not only our history, it's part of the history of Cranberry.
In Cranberry, Naomi Yane, News 12, New Jersey.
News 12 did reach out to Cranberry Township for comment, but we have not heard back.
Bunch of weasels. I'm very interested in this story, having just fought for 2 years. This is the next place I want to go do a documentary. I do. I want to go out there. Well, wants and needs, right? It's Farmageddon. And let me do the it's Farmageddon. Oh, that's cryptic, isn't it? Woo! Sends the chills up the spine, don't it? Yeah, that's during the middle of a war, you'll raise the upside down American flag to signal you're a nation in distress. Yeah, someone wants to come by and steal your family farm. Get bent. So anyway, this report, Elon Musk reportedly endorsing a proposal for all sitting members of Congress to be barred from re-election if the deficit exceeds 3% of U.S. GDP. I don't know if that's entirely true, but it's been reported. Take that with a grain of salt, and we'll follow up on that. All right, Ian Smith telling us some stuff. He says, and now we find out that Jeffrey Epstein put $40 million, Ian contends, into the hands of Peter Thiel, the founder of Trump's new favorite AI company, Palantir. Thiel also met with Epstein on numerous occasions, allegedly, according to Ian. So, just to check the scoreboard, Palantir, a CIA-born company, will be given the task of compiling a central mega AI-driven database on every detail of your life. The founder has bragged about crushing nationalism in Europe, and now Jeffrey Epstein money, Mossad, went through him too. LOL, this just keeps getting funnier. How much longer will the voices of conservative Inc. either try to justify or stay silent on this? I do not know if all of these accusations are correct, but this does sort of summarize a lot of what I'm seeing online when I'm seeking out information on Palantir. I don't like them. I don't trust them. Here's something else that's really strange. Where is this at? Waterbury, Democrat, Larry Butler. They had somebody get up on stage and started reading really sexually explicit information. And they kept saying, oh, you got to stop. You're using such language. You can't say these things in here. And it's like, yeah, that's our point. Take this filth, take this smut out of the children's libraries, you clowns. If it makes you uncomfortable here, imagine how I feel with my kid having access to this smut. So here's this creepy Democrat's response. I encourage the authorities to check this guy's hard drive. He strikes me as all sorts of creepy.
Well, I will tell you that in my 18 years here today, I never seen the demonstration of such vulgarity.
Such vulgarity. Why does he talk like a Muppet? He talks like a Muppet, doesn't he? There's been a lot of vulgarity.
Night, reaching the lowest level that I've ever seen in this chamber.
It's the lowest level I've ever seen in this chamber.
When we're talking about books and libraries.
Books? I mean libraries?
That's one thing. You could just mention a book, a title of a book, maybe where they are, maybe they should look into their books, but to actually repeat the vulgarity.
Why were they repeating the vulgarity, Kermie? Miss Piggy? Well, you're repeating the vulgarity so that you could be uncomfortable with it, so that we could see why we should be uncomfortable with it, to get it out of there. Okay?
That's in them on this floor is something that we should never hear.
We should never hear it, but the kids should be allowed to read it and hear it. Okay? Why is he getting mad that the lady stood up and read the book that you thought was okay for kids, which is clearly not? I won't play you the clip. I don't have it in front of me, but the clip is about, well, just it's very graphic.
Who does that?
Who does that? Maybe some of the parents that don't want their kids to be subjected to that smell, that smut, that filth, and that grooming. Okay?
I'm so taken aback.
I'm taken aback.
So offended.
You're offended. I'm offended.
I wasn't raised like that.
we want our kids to be raised like that. So deal with the smut. I just don't want to hear about it. Okay.
And I certainly didn't come here to hear it.
Boom. Yeah, you should go to an elementary school to hear smut. Okay, groomer.
Mr. Speaker, again, I would really respect all the views of everybody who rejected this document in front of them, but certainly we don't have to stoop to those levels to disagree. And I won't go any further because in the way I feel, I don't want to duplicate the just filth that was sputtered and put out on this floor earlier today.
Yeah.
Well, I will tell you that in my 18 years here today, I never seen the demonstration of...
They've never seen. Yeah, it's okay for school kids, but not for adults to be made aware of. Check this dude's hard drive. There's a tip out there. Why don't you check his hard drive? Anyway, here's Scott Jennings. Corinne Jean-Pierre, by the way, she says that a new book by her will provide you a look inside of a broken White House, as if she's not a co-conspirator. She is absolutely a co-conspirator. These people are...
I have a different
absolutely off their rocker.
view. I'd like to congratulate Democrats for ridding yourselves of this untalented mediocrity. I mean, this is the most self-aggrandizing liar that has ever held this job. The White House press secretary is a sacred position, and she stood up there for years and lied through her teeth to the American people.
My friend,
and
she's not the first.
She is the literal worst White House press secretary in my lifetime. And what she did in the last year and a half of the Biden administration, cheap fakes, the entire cover-up around the president's mental faculties, she was in the center of it.
So you think she's doing this to launder herself?
So congratulations for getting rid of this, but Democrats deserve everything they're getting here for putting her in that job in the first place.
The fact that it seems like she was in the White House for her own personal gain and not to service the American people.
I agree with you.
And part of that is Alex Thompson has some reporting that she had a publicist working for her pro bono to lift up her profile.
I have a different view. I'd like to congratulate Democrats.
Yep. Thank you, Scott Jennings. Real Estate of America is saying that it's been revealed Jeffrey Epstein invested $40 million into Palantir chairman Peter Thiel's Valar Ventures, a New York-based venture capital firm. I don't know if that's confirmed, but that's what Real Estate of America is reporting. The investments made during 2015 and 2016 have appreciated to an estimated value of $170 million, constituting the largest remaining asset in Epstein's estate. Wow. Let me ask Grok. Hit refresh. Did Epstein invest with Peter Thiel and Palantir? It's a little convoluted, but let's see what Grok has to say. It says not directly. Okay, I didn't mean directly. I meant just did he. Here, let's full screen this for a second. Okay, he invested $40 million into two funds managed by Valar Ventures, a firm co-founded by Peter Thiel in 15 and 16. All right, this is checking out. The investment reportedly grown to $170 million, making it largest asset in Epstein's estate. No indication the Palantir was part of Valar Ventures' portfolio, and thus no direct investment link between Epstein and Palantir has ever been established. Okay. So it's directionally true. It can't be proven, but where there's smoke, maybe it would be a good idea to continue investigating. Dig a little deeper. Nick Sortor says, I can't wait to watch Elon Musk unleash absolute hellfire in the primaries against every anti-American hack in the House GOP who votes against these Doge cuts. It's going to be glorious. And the meme is like, don't give me hope. I know. Hopium is a bitter pill to swallow. We played you this yesterday. But look, you want to take a guy's family farm after 175 years to put slums in? Low income doesn't mean slum. When the people living there aren't paying, they don't care. And the people that can't afford to pay rent are the ones that are probably making some other questionable life choices. Not everyone, many. It's a lifetime of decision making that puts you in a position where you need someone else to provide for everything you have. You want to kick a family farm out of where they've been for centuries to put slums in, cheap ass apartments, low income, low rent. Well, when people are pushed too far, this guy was a repair shop owner, Marvin John Heemeyer. Well, here, let's just play you the clip. I played this yesterday, but this is connected to when you push people out and you start messing with their lives. I mean, there's a reason you're not supposed to push people like this.
You see on top of there is debris, some venting, a whole lot of cinder blocks. He's actually pushing cinder blocks. These are remnants. This is debris from the buildings he's taken out over the course of the past hour or so, trying to figure out how to get in. I'm sure police officers, sheriff's deputies were themselves assuming for a time that he was armed because they were trying to keep their distance, trying to take cover. Actually took cover, as you can see there, behind the scraper, but they seemed to realize at some point that he was unable to shoot out, and that at this point he was like a turtle on his back. He was very vulnerable. He had gotten himself wedged, he disabled the caterpillar, and there was no place for him to go. The challenge now was to get him out of there. We don't know how that stands. So what you see.
On June 4, 2004, yeah, the anniversary was yesterday, Martin Heemeyer, 52-year-old welder and muffler shop owner in Granby, Colorado, unleashed a rampage that would etch his name into infamy as the killdozer driver. Frustrated by the years of disputes with local officials and business owners, particularly over zoning issues, and a concrete plant built near his shop, Heemeyer transformed a Komatsu D355A bulldozer into an armored juggernaut. He spent over a year reinforcing it with steel plates, concrete, and bulletproof materials, equipping it with cameras, monitors, and makeshift gun ports. His grievances, detailed in recordings he left behind, painted a picture of a man who felt betrayed and cornered by bureaucracy and small-town politics. On that fateful day, he drove the 85-ton behemoth through Granby, methodically demolishing 13 buildings, including Town Hall, a newspaper office, and the home of a former mayor, causing over $7 million in damage. The rampage lasted 2 hours, with Heemeyer firing rifles and handguns at police and infrastructure, including a power transformer. Despite the destruction, no one was killed or injured, largely because Heemeyer avoided targeting civilians directly. Law enforcement was powerless against the armored beast. Bullets and explosives and attempts to disable it failed. The rampage ended when the bulldozer became stuck in the basement of a hardware store, and Heemeyer, trapped inside, took his own life with the incident sparked debates about mental health, government overreach, and the limits of individual resistance. For some, Heemeyer became a folk hero and a symbol of standing up to a perceived injustice. For others, he was a dangerous vigilante whose actions endangered lives. The killdozer itself was dismantled and scrapped, but its legacy persists in documentaries, podcasts, and online discussions, a stark reminder of one man's breaking point in the chaos that it wrought. Disclaimer, this is a public awareness post, and this post is not an endorsement or promotion of what took place. Don't push the farmers. Don't push the Americans. Don't do that. Oh, so this is a magic trick. And we just posted, hey, it's the private banking cartel known as the Federal Reserve creating magic money out of thin air, then charging U.S. interest on our own money. Watch closely how they use U.S. aid and similar money laundering schemes to get the cash, move to their cronies, while we all toil as slaves for their amusement. All right, so very small in the fine print there. That's why we posted that one. Very small print. That was the purpose of that. All right, this is pretty cool. Representative Brandon Gill. He's talking to a liberal activist and a Democrat witness under oath who refuses to testify that she's not what? Huh. I love when you use the tactics of the deep state against them.
You a racist?
With all due respect, sir, I'm here to talk about the essential work that nonprofits do.
Excuse me, that's a
throughout
very
the
simple
country.
question. Yes or no question. Are you a racist?
I'm not a racist.
You're not a racist. Particularly interesting because according to one of your affiliate charities under your nonprofit umbrella, denial of racism constitutes covert white supremacy. Are you a covert white supremacist?
Sir, I'm here to talk about the essential work that nonprofits
Are you a
do.
covert white supremacist?
Can I talk about the work that nonprofits do in
No,
your
I'm
district?
asking you if you're a
'Cause I think that's
covert white supremacist, which according to one of your own organizations, again, denial of racism constitutes covert white supremacy. Would you like to answer the question?
I don't know what the question is.
So you refuse to answer whether you are a covert white supremacist?
I am here to talk.
Because she was partnered with a group that was saying that crazy shit. But when you confront them on it to point out how crazy it is, they're uncomfortable saying it because it's a trap. You either say, I'm not a racist, which makes you a racist, or you say you're a racist, which makes you a racist. They give you a false choice because that way they win. They get to shake you down. They get to intimidate and bully you, steal your money because they've painted a bad impression of you. They win. Well, you know. I like this interaction because he's putting it back on her. Like, hey, you've partnered with these groups that are pulling these crazy comments into their organization, and you all right, let's put you through the ringer as well. You don't like it, do you? Because it's nonsensical.
Talk about the essential work that nonprofits do. If you'd like to ask me a
I am
question
utterly
about
dumbfounded.
nonprofits
You are on
in your
record right now,
district
and you will
or
not say
throughout
that
the
you are not a
country.
covert white supremacist?
I don't have a definition in front of me. I haven't looked at the definition. I'm not going to answer a question about my personal views.
I mean, do you need a definition? It's pretty straightforward.
I'm here to talk about the work
You're not-
of nonprofit organizations.
I want to give you one more chance to do this. Are you a covert white supremacist?
Why are we so off track from the topic?
I'm asking you a very straightforward question.
I've heard your question. Thank you, sir.
And you're not going to answer whether you are a covert white supremacist.
I would like to answer questions about the work
This
of
is
nonprofit
this is
organizations. Thank you.
That is really astounding. I can answer very directly that I am not a covert white supremacist, and I imagine all of my colleagues can as well. I think you ought to reevaluate what you're doing in the nonprofit sector if you can't answer that in a straightforward way. That is astounding. Are you a racist?
You know, sometimes the best way to get a point across is to give them a dose of their own medicine. Kentucky statesman says, I stand with Rand Paul. I stand with Representative Thomas Massie. I stand with Elon Musk. Cut. Yep. Kentucky and Mars will save America. That's what I think. Elon's Mars. Rand Paul and Thomas Massie's Kentucky are going to save America. Sounds great to us. Senator Rand Paul says if Congress can't even cut $9 billion in foreign aid welfare, which is a rounding error, the country is doomed. Voters deserve to know who refuses to cut anything while we drown in $1 trillion annual interest payments. Agreed. Ron Paul said one thing is clear. The founding fathers never intended a nation where citizens would pay nearly half of everything they earn to the government. Let's learn about the smugglers at U.S.-funded labs.
Tonight, we begin with an exclusive story following the money from the government research agencies here in Washington to the Michigan laboratory, where 2 Chinese scientists worked before being charged this week by the FBI with smuggling a toxic pathogen in their boots. That's actually how they did it. They put it in their boots to get it inside our borders. The FBI, of course, called
There's a snake in my boots.
This is a potential case of agroterrorism. Just the News has confirmed that the lab where Yongqing Jian and Zhongyong Liu was led by 2 senior Chinese scientists who have received millions of dollars in funding from the U.S. government. In fact, the 2 scientists who have been rounded up actually cited their federal funding in some of the studies that they published here in America. We're going to lay out the whole story for you on Just the News in the morning, including the whole money trail. But it is, what we've uncovered is renewing concerns that date all the way to the outbreak of COVID-19 at the Wuhan lab more than 6 years ago, that the U.S. government is not properly vetting dollars sent overseas or to overseas scientists on our soil who are conducting highly sensitive and sometimes deadly scientific research. We'll have more for you on that in a second as we go through our guest lineup. But
30 million illegal alien invaders in this country. How in the world could we possibly know just how much is lurking, ready to be activated at any moment? But here you go. Our statement on this one. This is a Democrat representative and LGBT activist, Becca Ballant. Let's take a listen. We said, same old Democrat Party. They've always been this way. Finally, everyone else is seeing the Democrats as they truly are. Take a listen to this.
Labor, and of course, we have to come to a place in Congress where it is no longer a political issue, but we see it as an existential issue for the country. If we don't have avenues for people to come here legally to work or to build a home here, I'm going to be really crude right now. We're not going to have anybody around to wipe our asses because we don't have enough people labor.
If we don't get immigrants to come to the United States of America, we won't have people to wipe our asses, she says. That's the same Democrat Party it's always been. They love slaves. They love indentured servitude. They love the lower class being exploited so that they can literally wipe her ass. Her words. She thought that was a big applause line, a big humorous ha 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 ha. Or she's just being super honest. She's being honest. Who's going to pick our crops and clean our toilets? Didn't Meghan McCain say that? Or someone? Maybe it wasn't McCain. It was that other. Someone on The View said that. Yeah, here you go. This is a man pushed too far by the government taking a drive through town. June 4, 2004, colorized. Make that bigger. There we go. It's a stark reminder that you don't want a government that's going to be abusing the citizens. All right, Glenn Beck's kind of had it.
They are the rot they say they are escaping. And then they're planting that rot in our soil, the soil that gave them safety.
He's talking about unchecked, unfiltered, illegal alien invasion perpetrated by Biden, Harris, KJP, the Democrats, the deep state.
This is not immigration. This is infiltration. This is an invasion. And we need to stop lying to ourselves about that. Okay, this is not 1945. This is something entirely new. This is something orchestrated, something very dangerous. And if we can't find the will to tell the truth, we can't draw the line between compassion and self-destruction, we're not going to survive with anything. I mean, we won't have anything left. The truth is, the West isn't being asked to shelter the world. It's being asked to surrender. And I'm not one ready to kneel at anybody's feet. They are.
I mean, agree or disagree with that. That's pretty straightforward, I think. You know, your job is to fix your country. Go fix your country. You think you have the same values as Americans? Then use those values. We have the blueprint. Put your Bill of Rights together and change your government. Don't come here with your bad values, with ones that completely contradict with ours and try to change ours. No, because then you're going to ruin this place. Then there's going to be nowhere left to flee to. No thanks. We can accept the best and the brightest, a proper screening system, because we have communities and we want our communities to be uplifted, not dragged down. We want to be surrounded by great people, not monsters, smuggling pathogens, for example. Ugh. Sean Farash says, KJP, Biden is fine, and all the videos showing he's not fine, they are cheap fakes and Russian disinformation. Also, KJP, Biden was never fine. I lied to all of you. Please buy my book. And we ask, please indict her. Nick Freitas says, hey, GOP, here's a relatively simple thing you could do. Move tax day from April 15th to 1 week before Election Day. I want that fresh in everyone's memories when they head to the polls. I like that idea. I say make it happen. Nick says, this has the Ron Swanson seal of approval. Although I think Nick Offerman is a out to lunch lefty, I think. But he played a great role. Just like Colbert played a great role on Comedy Central before he got all woke on ABC. Colbert used to be hilarious in the Colbert Report. Man, that was great. All right, so apparently a Biden-appointed judge has blocked President Trump from deporting the family of Boulder, Colorado terrorism. I mean, you can call him a suspect, but he's right there. He did it. Mohammed Soleiman. Why would a Biden-appointed judge block the president from deporting the family of this person? I do have videos of him declaring his love for jihad over love of family. None of these people were vetted. You can't allow people with these radical, violent ideologies into your country. Yeah, imagine picking the side of someone who attacked Americans. Make it make sense. Why? Why would that happen? Anna Paulina Luna says elected officials who receive donations from pro-war defense contractors should not be traveling to countries like Ukraine to undermine the president's agenda. It's a clear conflict of interest. I agree. The conservative Guido says, so who remembers when Joe Biden took office and there was 638 million barrels of oil in the Strategic Petroleum Reserve? And then Joe, or his handlers, sold off approximately 287 million barrels of reserve oil, some of which was sold to China, bringing the lot down to 351 million barrels, which would only last us a month or two in an emergency scenario. We currently have the reserve oil count back up to around 400 million barrels. That's not enough. Let me ask Grok. How many million barrels are in the U.S. strategic stockpile oil reserve? Grok is thinking. 395 million barrels of oil. How many million barrels was this reserve at the peak? Like, what's the highest number? You got to think, like, when you're asking AI to do something, you got to be kind of, whoa, it peaked at 726 million on December 27, 2009. How much should we have? That's very subjective. If you ask Grok to think, you're probably asking the wrong questions, but let's see what it says. Giving me a long, still writing. Changing energy landscape, critiques and alternative views, infrastructure, internal energy agency, historical context and energy security. Recommendation 600 to 700. Where are these reserves held? Are they all in one spot, like in a mountain? Underground salt caverns at 4 major sites along the Gulf Coast of Texas and Louisiana, chosen for their geological stability, proximity to major oil refineries, and access to shipping infrastructure. Bryan Mound, Freeport, Texas; Big Hill, Winnie, Texas; West Hackberry, Hackberry, Louisiana; Bayou Choctaw, Plaquemine, Louisiana. I think we should have more sites. Anyway, that's increasing. I hope it increases more. This is the Spanish MEP Jorge Buxade. You're not going to be able to understand him.
Medidas para acabar con el terror islamista.
Massive illegal and uncontrolled immigration is a crime and a threat to the survival of Europe, he says. Well, anyway, that's the gist of it. That's the takeaway quote. But Spain is working on restoring their country because of the Obama doctrine, colonization of Europe. They're fighting to stay sovereign. All right, here's Lindsey Graham fighting to stay what? Well-fed and well-laundered?
We know that Lindsey Graham, Senator Blumenthal, and Mike Pompeo have all made trips
This is LFA TV, live from America.
to Ukraine in the last week.
Jeremy Harrell, live from Iowa.
We also know that in between their trips and today, there was attacks on Russian aircraft. Many of us, including us here at LFA TV, believe that the Logan Act was violated by Senator Graham and by Senator Blumenthal when Senator Graham threatened superpowers, nuclear superpowers like China and Russia, with sanctions and increased tariffs and anything else that's necessary to stop them in their tracks. President Trump did not authorize Lindsey Graham to make those kind of threats. And Lindsey Graham is over there showing support, continued support, and forever support for Ukraine's military agenda against Russia. That, to me, is violating the Logan Act. And again, just to recap, everybody in the world has seen this in the last few days. If you go to usaspending.gov, have fun trying to find it. I spent hours looking for exactly what I wanted to look for. And when I finally went through all the filters because there's no search bar, what I came up with, the International Business Hotel. So the International Business Hotel, when you go looking for that, what you find, if you Google it, is almost nothing. However, when you pull it up like through the government websites, you find out that the Department of State Bureau and European and Eurasian Affairs, long story short, ladies and gentlemen, the Department of State Bureau, European and Eurasian Affairs awarded an indefinite delivery contract to the International Business Center, TOV, okay, as the prime contractor to provide hotel accommodations and related lodging services in Ukraine. Task orders issued against the contract vehicle from multiple government agencies total $13.9 million and include a short-term lodging requirement ranging from 1 month to 1 year in length to support personnel conducting official business, operations, audits, and oversight activities. Places of performance are specified as Kiev and elsewhere in Ukraine as needed. So when you look through how much money was spent on all of these hotel accommodations through the International Business Center, the total, ladies and gentlemen, comes to a whopping $16.3 million. $16.3 million so far we have spent with this International Business Center. So why don't we follow the money and look who owns it? Well, I tried, and I can't find out who owns it. I can't find out if it's one person, if it's a board. Now, I may find out, but I haven't had enough time before the show started today. So I say, okay, we're spending $500,000 for the traitor, Lindsey Graham and Blumenthal and Pompeo to stay in this hotel. That's where the money's going. That's where the taxpayer money's going. That's where Lindsey Graham's self-approval is going to. So then you got to ask yourself, well, who are these people then? Well, they're the International Business Center. They supply hotel accommodations for heads of state and for elected officials like Lindsey to go and stay. $16.3 million so far has been the total prime award amount to the International Business Center in Kiev. So the question is this a money laundering operation? Because Lindsey Graham only stayed there a few days. Does it take $500,000? This is just lodging, folks. Now, I could understand if it was $400,000 for your flight, your security, your food, your lodging, fuel, transportation, vehicles. Then I could understand. I don't think it should have been done, but I could understand that. But this is just lodging. Something should be done about this. Hey, thank you for watching that short clip, folks. We really appreciate it. If you like what...
All right. I got big problems with Pompeo, former CIA director, going there. What is this, a shadow government overriding the president of the United States? And what ramifications will await these people? Well, here's Dan Bongino, U.S. Deputy Director of the FBI. Still no Epstein files. Here he is in 2023 compared to 2025. What changed?
Listen, that Jeffrey Epstein story is a big deal.
Is it?
Please do not let that story go. Keep your eye on this. Catherine Rumler, we need to keep the heat on this case, folks. There are a lot of people who are knee deep in the Washington swamp who are not telling you the truth about serious allegations out there that Epstein may have had video and audio of people out there doing things they shouldn't have been doing. And you should be asking yourself the question, how is it that all these people, the CIA director, the Obama fixer, Bill Clinton, all intersected paths with Jeffrey Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein isn't with us anymore, and nobody seems to want to talk about it. Outside of a few entrepreneurial media outlets saying, hey, this is a big deal.
He killed himself. You want me to I've seen the whole file. He killed himself.
Listen, that Jeffrey Epstein story is a big deal.
Yeah.
Please do not let that story go. Keep your eye on it.
Seems like you're letting it go, Danny. Can't express my disappointment. Here's Tucker.
It's so unbelievable. So you go to
John Kirikow.
your lawyer's office, you find out you're being charged with espionage.
I called my wife. She came and picked me up, and I told her I'm going to kill myself. This is a death penalty case. I haven't done anything wrong.
The FBI spends a year investigating you because you say the president is lying.
Yes. They had my phones tapped.
Actually?
Actually tapped. Yep. They intercepted all of my emails. And then one of them said, we probably should tell you that as we're speaking right now, we're raiding your house. We're confiscating all of your electronics.
Holy shit.
You're going to be charged with a lot of crimes.
What? Did you call home and ask your wife?
One of the female agents said, why don't you sit with that beautiful baby and don't get up?
Yeah, why don't you go fuck yourself?
Exactly.
Actually, excuse me. Sorry.
Exactly.
That's how I felt listening to that farm confiscation story. It's hard to, you come at me with the worst possible thing, you're going to hear the worst possible stuff from me. You fight fire with fire. No, you don't. That's stupid. You fight fire with water. No, actually, you do burn lines. You do a break. You do a fire break by burning it fast and first. So that when it gets there, there's no fuel for it and it will die out.
Yeah.
Talking that way to your wife with a newborn baby.
The deputy director for operations at the CIA under Brennan tweeted at me the night before I left for prison. And he said, don't drop the soap. I'm hopeful that President Trump will pardon me.
I hope that you get a pardon this afternoon. I really
Thank
do.
you.
This is horrifying.
That's your deep state. John Kirikow committed Washington's one unpardonable sin. He embarrassed the CIA. John Brennan tried to have him executed for it, says Tucker Carlson. Check out that interview. All right, here's the deep state hiding Ukraine attack from President Trump.
Well, Steve, thanks again for having me on.
This is Jack Posobiec. Once again, it was about a year ago. I'll play this for you again. It's just kind of funny that I was out here on Jack's show in the Bronx reporting.
The energy here is exciting. You hear people yelling behind. They were just chanting USA. You have people performing music. The energy is off the charts. This is not a traditional area that Republicans have bothered to communicate with. But after seeing the past 3.5 years, people are ready for a change. I spoke with a woman that said one of her elderly friends was cracked in the head and severely injured on a subway. That's just unacceptable to be abusing elderly women in a great city like this. The great American cities are really struggling right now under the weight of what Biden's done at the border, and it's palpable. The people have seen the past 3.5 years, and they are ready for a change. That's for sure.
That was my report, and then that turned into this intro with Steve Bannon. Oh, there's a commercial. Hold on. I will skip this commercial now. Here you go. Oh, a second commercial. All right. Is this the beginning of it? Yes. Here we go. I contributed several segments for this intro. Pretty cool. That's me interviewing this guy right here. Oh, I'm not showing you the. Hold on. What happened? Oh, yeah.
The energy.
Okay. I have too many tabs open. There we go. I thought I was playing you this one. Here you go. Sorry, these tabs are still open on my screen. And I was like, oh, it's Bannon and Posobiec. I was on with them like a year ago. But anyway, this is the intro. I'll play this again, just since it's sitting here.
Trump's big Bronx rally.
Crowds are pouring in here, thousands of people.
We are in the Bronx today, and I do think the Bronx is going to show out for Donald Trump.
These people up here want change.
Biden's bringing us down, man.
The only man capable to make those changes, and he will make those changes, is Donald Trump.
50% of the people in this area live below the federal poverty line. You like what you see going on in the city?
No, my city's upside down.
Democrats let the people down?
Sure, look at Ocasio-Cortez.
These people are furious. They feel like the Democrats have taken them for granted all this time.
Biden's support among
We ended up on this show as well.
minorities isn't just eroding because of failed policies, but because more people are waking up and see how much of a liar he really is.
The biggest issue right now is the border. You got a mass invasion everywhere, especially here in New York City. They go to the big cities.
The great American cities are really struggling right now under the weight of what Biden's done at the border, and it's palpable.
Crime has raised at least 160%. I get gunshots on my block on a weekly basis.
We need to make America safe again. Donald Trump, the #1 president, we love you. We need you. Come save us. Save us from the crime. Save us from the criminals.
And people from every race and color, the Bronx needs help.
The people have seen the past 3.5 years, and they are ready for a change.
Dominicans and black people in the streets cheering for Trump.
I love you, Donald. I would love to be able to shake your hand.
Here to see Trump. He's coming to the Bronx. I had to come. He's the greatest president in my lifetime.
I think everybody's going red.
We've wanted for a long time somebody that's warrior enough to go to South Bronx.
Donald Trump coming out here and showing that he cares about the community and he wants his message to be heard, because we've been dealt a terrible hand of cards by the Democratic Party for a very, very long time. Minorities.
They do great intros on Real America's Voice. This intro's pretty exciting.
From the Bronx, all fed up and pissed off.
We're going to listen to the 45th President of the United States.
Well, hello, everybody. Thank you very much.
Well, hello, everybody.
This is some turnout. Right here.
Right here. See, that's the Trump I do, but it's not sustainable. It's right here. It's a gravelly, growly kind of excited campaign Trump.
In the Bronx. I'm here tonight to declare that we are going to turn New York City around, and we are going to turn it around very, very quickly. We're going to bring safety back to our streets. We're going to bring success back to our schools. We're going to bring prosperity back to every neighborhood and every borough of the greatest city in our land. We're going to reduce taxes. We're going to bring businesses and big taxpayers back to New York. We're going to make New York bigger, better, and more beautiful than ever before. And that includes right here in the Bronx. And it's going to be done and funded starting on January 20th, directly from our great and beautiful White House.
What a great intro.
What do you make of Donald Trump's outrage?
I think
yeah, that's a pretty great intro, wasn't it? Anyway, that's just to say that that was for Bannon's Open, and that was me on with Posobiec. So let's get back to Bannon and Posobiec talking about the deep state hiding Ukraine's attack from President of the United States.
And after our clip the other day, in the aftermath of this, which has now gotten a lot of attention, my phone's been ringing off the hook. I've been working the phones as well, and the back channel that I've received and the report that I can report back on all of this is that there are elements of the U.S. intelligence community that absolutely knew about this Operation Spiderweb and hid it from the President of the United States and the White House upper echelons of the national security leadership. And particularly, there are a lot of questions surrounding, as you've mentioned, Senator Lindsey Graham, but also former CIA Director Mike Pompeo, who is currently right now in Odessa, Ukraine.
Why?
And there's a lot of questions about who actually is the head of the CIA, because Mike Pompeo is over there. Mike Pompeo has said that we need to end the peace talks. Mike Pompeo has said that the war should continue. And they're now seeing elements of the CIA apparatus and other national security apparatuses within the current Trump administration, within the current government of the United States, that are loyal now to Brennan. They're loyal to Clapper. They were those guys that were put up and promoted during the Biden administration. So they got started, remember, under Obama. They were never fired. Then under Biden, they were put into positions of power. Steve, they are still in those positions of power, and they have gone rogue. There are elements of the national security community that have gone rogue and are now approving and being involved with and knowing about these operations that are directly opposed to the agenda of the President of the United States.
No, hang on. They haven't gone rogue. This is the deal. This is the way the deep state runs. We're not doing anything about it. Is Chris Wray now with the Grassley's thing on the FBI about it was all over the country, just not in Richmond, about this traditional Catholics and they're getting into the abortion movement as extremists?
At the behest of the SPLC.
At the Southern Poverty Law Center? It's not going rogue. This is the plan. This is the way it rolls. They look at Trump as rogue. They look at MAGA as rogue. We got a handful of people over in the West Wing. You got a couple of 3 people on Capitol Hill, a couple in the House, a couple in the Senate. This is the policy of the permanent government of the United States and the lords of easy money on Wall Street, the arms manufacturers all over the country, the big tech. Which I want to go to, you got to, hey, Chinese Communist Party, maybe get ahead of us, got to do all artificial intelligence, Palantir, you need to coordinate everything. Brother, this ain't rogue. This is the plan. They're rolling. They don't care if Donald Trump's there. You think they care about that? They don't care if Jack Posobiec, Steve Bannon yelling at microphones. Yell all you want. We're rolling, dude. If that takes Curtis LeMay's masturbatory fantasy, we're gonna execute on it. And you know what you're going to do about it? Nothing. You're going to like it. Mike Pompeo already took $100 million from the Qatar. He needs another payoff in Ukraine. And you're 100% right. What the hell is he doing in Odessa? Putin. I thought the whole purpose of the program was to sit down, the President of the United States, to stop the kinetic part of this Third World War, which we're in. Wanted to everybody put their guns down. And let's start talking and talk about prosperity that'll lead to ultimate peace. Putin just came back to you. There's nothing to talk about. You're doing strikes deep inside of Russia at part of our strategic triad. That'd be like going to Omaha and blowing up a couple of B-52s, would it not, Jack Posobiec?
Well, that's exactly what it's like, Steve. And of course, Putin also responded not only to the strikes on the bombers, but also this strike on the train, which targeted civilians, the strike on the Kerch Strait Bridge. I believe it's the 3rd time that it's been hit, this time with an underwater bomb. Again, yes, it is a supply route, but it's also a civilian bridge. So these are
And we played you that video yesterday.
Civilian targets that are now being hit, that are in some cases deep within the backfield, like this train deep within the backfield, the strategic bombers, and then right there the key link between the Russian mainland and Crimea being that Kerch Strait Bridge, which was built by Putin. So it's always been a key symbol of his presidency, a key symbol of his unifying of Russia with Crimea. It's something that he's pointed to many times, which of course makes it a strategic symbol, maybe not militarily as much, but certainly for propaganda purposes for the Ukrainians and for Zelensky. And the key here is, Steve, is just as you said, these elements, they're not taking direction from the White House. They're not taking direction from the President of the United States. They're not reading Truth Social. The boys over in Wiesbaden, the boys over at Langley, they're operating business as usual. And rather than listen to the White House, they are instead getting in the way of the White House. They are scuttling the peace talks. They don't care about the peace talks. They think it's a sideshow for politics, and they are going to continue doing what the CIA always does. They think that they believe the show, and unfortunately, in this case, they were able to get this done without the knowledge of the President of the United States. Well, Steve, thank
guys, we are at an inflection point. And by the way, we got breaking updates. We were talking about Elon and Trump, and are they really in on it? Are they against? Oh no. No, this is things are unraveling. Zelensky is terrified of the incoming Russian response, trying to call for peace now after he went and did Pompeo and Lindsey Graham's bidding with Blumenthal. No, there's going to be a response, and it's going to be bad. Of course it's going to be bad. Oh, Palestine attacks, kidnaps hundreds of people at a concert, kills 1,200. Oh my gosh, the response, it's so bad. Yeah, that's what happens when you get attacked. You move heaven and earth to vow that it's never going to happen again, and you annihilate anybody associated with it. That's war. That's why it's generally a good idea to, I don't know, push the Abraham Accords and keep peace in the Middle East. Oh, I don't know. Maybe not keep pushing to get into NATO, which essentially only exists to mess with Russia at this point, according to many of the smartest people in the room that I listen to. Putting weaponry encroaching upon the Russian border. And eventually Russia had enough. And they smacked them because the U.S. would not stop provoking a war over there. And now we've multiple years in on this war. Trump's trying to wind it down, but the deep state didn't get what they wanted yet, so they keep pushing. Now Zelensky's terrified. So it's really bad. What is Pompeo doing there? He's not in charge anymore. Or is he? Who's really running the CIA? Let's ask that question. And why can't you have him arrested immediately? Military tribunal. Why not arrest Mike Pompeo right now for Logan Act violations? Same with Graham, same with Blumenthal. Do they not have the power? Do they not have the balls? Are they okay pretending to be in charge when they're actually not? What comes next? We are at a point right now where we're going to figure out, we're going to hit the fork in the road. Yogi Berra says, take it. Yeah, I know. Left or right. He didn't say that, which is why it's a Yogi Berra-ism. All right. Daily Wire reports judge orders Trump admin to restart taxpayer-funded trans procedures in prison. The ruling ignores the biological truth that there are only two genders, the White House said. How about no? What do you know? How about no? Or judges run the country, not the president now. So I guess we don't get to vote on how our country is going to be run. It's up to appointed judges from previous administrations who determine where we're headed. That doesn't make a lick of sense to me. Dr. Josh Axe says breaking federal health agencies were warned about large reports of myocarditis in February 21, but waited until June 21 to adjust vaccine labels. Oh, really? Numbers don't lie, but people do. We must continue to demand safer science. He's citing a New York Post article saying Biden officials knew about the potential COVID-19 vaccine risks and took steps to downplay them, says a scathing Senate report. Go to countervailing views on health and elections at cdc.gov, who.int, and cisa.gov/rumor control. On this day in 1989, just hours after the massacre in Tiananmen Square, when troops of Chinese CCP gunned down peaceful student protesters in Beijing, the world witnessed the image that would become the defining symbol of the day, a lone man standing in front of a column of tanks. His identity, like the true number of those killed, remains unknown. History remembers him only as the Tank Man. So we got two Tank Men. I don't know if you ever watched this video. I can't forward through it. But he moves to the right. The tank moves to the right. The tank moves to the left. He climbs on top of the tank. I'm not sure how it eventually ends, but there's a few minutes of it. I've seen this a bunch where he stands there and blocks them all, showing the power of what one man can do symbolically. Literally, one person can get in the way. But you got to be willing to risk it all. There it is. The tank turns. This guy takes a few steps and goes, nope. You're going to have to get me here too, buddy. Nope. I'm going to go over here. Nope. Run me over if you must. Go ahead. I'm willing to I'm giving everything I got right now. And that's why they don't want you to see this video. But it continues. It goes on and on. I got more show to do, so I'm going to continue. But you can watch it if you want. Hey, I have a wild idea for a country that's $36 trillion in debt. How about we spend less money next year than we spent this year? Eh? How about it? More Tucker.
Mention in an ABC News interview in
John Kirikow.
2007
about the CIA's torture program. This is Mike Pompeo, who's allegedly breaking Logan Act rules, trying to set policy in opposition of the President of the United States.
That the CIA is torturing people, which it was.
During rendition programs in Northern Africa. They said, oh, no, we're not doing it. Yeah, you are. You're paying the people that are doing it. No, see, we're not doing it. They are. You're paying them to do it. You're doing it.
Yes.
completely rogue organization, absolutely out of control.
Legally.
Yes.
And is a stain on the country, didn't make the country safer. You say that, and you wind up in jail.
I sure did.
Did any of the people who were torturing other people wind up in jail?
Not a single one. The torturers.
I'm sorry, it's so crazy.
It's nuts. It's nuts. The torturers didn't go to jail. The people who conceived of the torture, the people who funded the torture, appropriated taxpayer money for the torture, the people who implemented it, nobody went to prison but me.
Guys, we're running out of time. Missoula, Montana votes 9-2 to make the pride flag an official city flag to get around a law that banned political flags on government property. An official city flag in Montana. I like the conspiracy, Peter.
In 2017, the U.S.
Whoa, what happened? Okay, now it's quiet.
The U.S. government admitted over 5,000 patents are locked under national security.
Wait, what kind of tech?
Free energy, wireless power, magnetic motors, anything that breaks the oil grid or ends the debt system.
Stanley Meyer's water car, dead. Henry Moray, 50 kilowatts from the air, patent vanished. Cold fusion, silenced. Magnetic motors, shelved since the 80s.
Since 1951, over 5,700 inventions were reviewed for suppression, and that's only what they admitted.
Okay, but that's just for safety, right?
Safety is the excuse. Control is the reason.
They let you invent until your invention breaks their system.
Tesla tried to build wireless power, free for all. JP Morgan pulled his funding. Why? No money. If one country broke free from energy slavery, others would follow, and the global debt economy would collapse.
So they
global debt economy. Oh, it is collapsing. What's going to happen when it does?
Bury it forever?
They don't destroy the tech. They lock it, patent it, hide it, then sell you the lie.
They don't kill the machine. They kill the blueprint. No matter how brilliant, your invention disappears into the vault. Damn, I thought conspiracy theories were fake.
You still do, but you're holding a phone powered by lithium, charged by oil, and monitored by code, while thousands of better systems are buried.
They sold you a power bill and buried your birthright.
This isn't a tech blackout. It's a war on freedom, a silent war, where they don't shoot the rebels, they erase the future. In 2000...
That's terrifying and not quite inaccurate either. Here you go. There's Trump supporters, yay! And lurking behind them, the totalitarian surveillance state of Palantir. How about you resist? Oh, yeah, in Canada, this is the result of liberal censorship bills C11 and C18. People in Canada can't see this content. In response to Canadian government legislation, news content can't be viewed in Canada. David, do you have a VPN, a Tor onion routing system to get around this censorship madness? Tucker Carlson reports, according to the Real State of America, that Mark Levin visited the White House to push for U.S. military action against Iran on Israel's behalf. Carlson warned that a growing faction of Washington hawks is backing the move, and a full-scale conflict could be just weeks away. This is Geert Wilders.
My friends, walk the streets of Western Europe. Get on a bus, the metro.
This is in Hungary.
On the train, and you will see that it often looks like a medieval Arab city full of headscarves and burqas. Millions of people all over Europe today feel like strangers in our own country, in our own neighborhoods.
That's a very popular phrase. Feel like strangers in your own country, strangers in your own neighborhoods. That line resonates. That line cuts through the BS and, oh, you can't say this and you shouldn't talk about that. You feel like a stranger in your own community.
Mass immigration is rapidly changing our culture and identity. It's changing the face of Western Europe.
And it's intentional. This isn't, oh, there's a crisis. No. It's the Obama doctrine of forced colonization to overthrow sovereign nations.
And not for the best.
Using the Cloward-Piven strategy to bankrupt your countries on the welfare, the benefits assistance, the bribery, the payoffs, the kickbacks. You bankrupt the nation, boom, install your Leninism, communism, Marxism, hellscape, anti-utopia.
Better, but for the worse.
So Europe is trying to figure out what they do next.
And let me say something.
This is a serious allegation from former CIA agent Larry Johnson on with Stinchfield.
About Senator Graham.
Lindsey Graham.
There will be news coming out in the next couple of months about how he has profited financially off of money that came out of Ukraine, laundered through Latvia, and made its way into his bank account. And we're talking significant amounts of money. Department of Justice is looking at it.
All right, those are serious allegations leveled by CIA officer, former CIA officer Larry Johnson. We shall see.
And let me say something about.
We shall see indeed. Watch this video. I think this is like, I don't know what I'm watching, but it feels like training or it feels like a movie, but it's cool. I'm gonna mute it. There you go. The cop does this spin around block technique. Bam. Pushed. Guy gets out. Jumps through the windshield. Look at that. Not entirely certain what I'm watching, but it appears to be training or a movie scene or something. That's a cool maneuver. Gets out of the passenger side, climbs on top of the vehicle, spins, rotates, jumps, kablamo. Right through the windshield. Seems fake, but it's still cool. So I figured I'd share it. I don't know. British people and ants. Here's a Venn diagram. British people, beans and toast. Ants can lift up to 5,000 times their own weight, but both of them together, they have a weird loyalty to their queen. Their innate instinct is to line up single file and travel in a queue. They both take things that aren't theirs back to their colony, and they love crumbly pastries. Okay, just kind of humorous. Tucker reporting, Mark Levin wants war. Massive illegal uncontrolled immigration is a crime and threat for the survival of Europe, says Spanish MEP Jorge Buxade. I had that one before. Mike Benz.
In chess.
He's showing you this conversation with Mike Pompeo in Ukraine. In chess,
there's this concept, and in warfare, this concept of blitzkrieg. Move quickly, attack the enemy, be vicious. Sun Tzu wrote about it slightly differently. But I would suggest that even the model that this conflict has been fought on has been insufficiently aggressive. The West has not been prepared to do the necessary, which is to impose sufficient cost on Vladimir Putin and his regime, the leadership team around him, to impose enough costs on them such that they're prepared to actually stand down for a moment, for a time.
Wait, this is one day before the biggest attack on Russia in the entire war? One day he travels to Ukraine, one day before the bombs drop, to say that we need to conduct a blitzkrieg inside of Russia. The head of the Central Intelligence Agency and the Secretary of State for Trump 1?
No, this is a constant challenge. But today, he believes the benefits of continuing this conflict exceed the costs, and we have to flip that. I'm certainly happy to talk about what that might look like, but what it begins with is this.
Yeah, please do. Go on.
It begins with the resolve to articulate this as the vision. It begins by speaking less about the things that we won't do. The things that we will deny the Ukrainian people the capacity to do to inflict real costs on Vladimir Putin.
I'm sorry. Wait. Wait.
And when he says we, who the fuck is we? He's not running the CIA anymore. What regime is he a part of? He's not a part of this regime. This government.
Wait.
I'm kind of confused. Who's he speaking?
So we need to take the handcuffs off of Ukraine so that they can do the things that we've never previously authorized them to do.
I know it's a broken record. Why has this guy not already been arrested? He's running an opposite campaign, an anti-peace campaign in opposition to our president, who wants this shit to stop so we don't keep sending hundreds of thousands of people, innocent human beings, into fucking body bags in both Ukraine and in Russia. And Pompeo's going to be out there. Who is we? Who is he even representing? He's not a part of this president's administration.
And the very next day that happened. Say it again.
Team around him to impose enough costs on them such that they're prepared to actually stand down for a moment, for a time. We know this is a constant challenge, but today he believes the benefits of continuing this conflict exceed the costs, and we have to flip that. I'm certainly happy to talk about what that might look like, but what it begins with is this. It begins with the resolve to articulate this as the vision. It begins by speaking less about the things that we won't do. The things that we will deny the Ukrainian people the capacity to do to inflict real costs.
The problem is we have denied the Ukrainian people the capacity to inflict real costs inside of Russia. As Central Intelligence Agency, because remember, the war did not start in 2022. The war started in 2014.
When they overthrew.
That was when.
Yeah, it was when Victoria Nuland, Barack Hussein Obama, Joe Biden, the deep state Democrats overthrew Ukraine and installed their puppet Zelensky.
After the Maidan riots, the CIA rent-a riots, the Donbass broke away. They became independent. They said, we don't respect the new coup government. There was a counter coup. Crimea broke away and then voted in a referendum to join the Russian Federation.
Because they didn't want to be a part of the CIA-backed Ukrainian puppet regime.
And Mike Pompeo, as CIA director and as Secretary of State, was part of the active operation to help Ukraine militarily retake those territories, the Donbass and Crimea.
Civil War.
Working with them every day as CIA director and as Secretary of State to militarily reconquer that. That's what the military aid to Ukraine was going towards. Trump was impeached over even sneezing at the possibility of withholding that military aid to Ukraine. That Mike Pompeo, as CIA director and Secretary of State, was directing. So Mike Pompeo knows everyone in Ukrainian intelligence like the back of his hand. He knows these people. He's been working with them for a decade, and especially for the past 6 years. He was in charge of it. And then he goes over the very next day. They launched this attack that they'd been planning for 18 months. And his keynote speech is bombs away. You don't think they told Pompeo they were going to do this tomorrow? Thanks for writing the speech that justifies it.
On Vladimir Putin, and we will speak more about the things that we will do and that we might do and that we're prepared to do, and that we will demonstrate not only that we have the capacity, the tools, the weapons, the human capital, the people, the intelligence capabilities, all the things that go with true hard power, but...
And what would you advise to Ukrainian negotiation team, American negotiation team, how to negotiate with Russia in such circumstances?
Negotiations are downstream of true power. You captured it perfectly. If there's no hammer, Vladimir Putin will sit at the table and make demands that are simply not acceptable to Ukraine, to Europe, or to the United States of America. So you're right about a punch in the face.
He says, yeah, punch him in the face, punch him in the face. Okay, all right. Well, just hang it.
Anyway, I think you get the gist of what's going on. Watch the rest of this. Mike Benz is a good resource on this. Classical Liberty says there's a new, well, I don't get what's happening. If Pompeo is not out there negotiating on behalf of the President Trump administration, why isn't he arrested at the airport? This is the most obvious coup you've ever seen, directly disobeying and contradicting the policy of the elected official who's running our country. There's no shadow government. They are bright out in the sunlight. They don't have their Halloween masks on anymore. I don't get what comes next. I don't understand why we haven't seen action taken at the highest levels to start signifying that action is going to happen if you're going to go against the will of the people. We don't want this war. We don't want to fund this war. We want this shit to stop. That's why we put Trump in there, because it was Biden and his team that started this in 2014. Anyway, Classical Liberty says there's a new omnibus bill every 6 months. They waste the money you paid in taxes and devalue the money left in your pockets. Congress doesn't pass laws, it spends money. These radical liberals went berserk at the wrong raid. You saw this one in Minneapolis? Kenneth, you're from Minneapolis.
Just when you thought they hit rock bottom, liberals dig even deeper. Activists ambushed an ICE raid in Minneapolis, tampon territory. Only problem, wasn't an ICE raid. It was a drug bust. These protesters saw the cops going into a taco joint and just assumed they were for migrants. Kind of racist. The restaurant had a "Make Tacos, Not Walls" sign out front. We like tacos, but walls work too. The feds were actually there on a drug and money laundering case, but that didn't stop the liberal fiesta. Just when you thought they hit rock bottom, liberals dig even deeper.
So that's interesting. It wasn't even an ICE raid. These people don't even know what they're angry about. All right, so here's a flashback. Co-founder of PayPal and early Facebook investor Peter Thiel heavily stutters when asked about Israel using his AI technology from Palantir, of which he co-founded as well, to bomb and kill Palestinian civilians in Gaza, July 2024. Now, let's just look at the interaction. You judge for yourself.
So what do you think about the use of artificial intelligence, or lavender, by the IDF in identifying Hamas targets? And secondly, do you agree with Elon Musk about that the population decline is a risk for humanity?
Look, I'm not, without going into all.
Whoa, that was. I get being tongue-tied, but that was like gun pressed into the back of your spine, being told to smile and read the script like you're trying to remember what you can and can't say. That was a weird.
All the I'm not on top of all the details of what's going on in Israel, because my bias is to defer to Israel. It's not for
to defer to Israel. What does that mean exactly?
For us to second guess everything, and I believe that broadly the IDF gets to decide what it wants to do, and that they're broadly in the right, and that's sort of the perspective I come back to. And if I fall into the trap of arguing you on every detailed point, I would actually be conceding the broader issue that the Middle East should be micromanaged from Cambridge, and I think that's just simply absurd. And so I'm not going to concede that point. And what was the other?
I don't know all the details of that, but that was a weird interaction. Made me uncomfortable to watch, said one commenter, and I tend to agree. Kazin here says, truly bizarre how much of the outside world wants to live in America, but so many inside America don't understand how lucky they are to live in it. I think there's a second post to this one. Oh, yeah. Maturing is realizing that America does have enemies. They do spread propaganda in our universities, and they've succeeded in causing Americans to hate themselves, but to love those who hate America. I'm just going to say preach button. Well said.
If you were governor.
All right. That concludes my prepared remarks on Instagram. Wait, was my blood pressure high? Oh, 8 minutes ago. We're all watching what we're watching. Inflection point, fork in the road. What are we have to make a decision. We can't keep going straight. It's chaos, World War III, or it's sanity and peace. Like, what are we doing? And where are the GD arrests? Where are the repercussions for all this? Trying to stay positive. I'm trying, Ringo, but it's getting real hard. Here is Andy No reporting a Portland State Arabic language professor, Yasmin Hanoush, recorded at a leftist protest in Beaverton, Oregon. What does she have to say? Volume up. Hold on. Volume up. Here we go.
Yes. You know Hamas?
I am Hamas.
You are Hamas. Great. What was the plan for Hamas?
We're all Hamas.
I am Hamas. We are all Hamas, she says.
Yes. You know Hamas?
I am Hamas.
You are Hamas. Great. What was the plan for Hamas?
We're all Hamas.
Okay. So there you go. In case you missed it. Of course, here's the video of Ukrainian drone attack hiding info from the president. Oh, hey, you want to see what Chucky Six Ways from Sunday Schumer has to say? One of the most blackmailed, bribed, threatened, deep state hacks you'll ever find. Here, let's take a listen to the what happens if we get a tax cut.
And we all know one thing. Donald Trump is just lying about the bill. Lying about the bill. Well, here's the "We Are All Going to Die" act.
There you go. His claim is we are all going to die. Okay. Well, I guess their lies and their obfuscations and their hyperbole. You know, I guess when everyone's Hitler, when everybody's, you can't go much further. You might as well just be as cartoonish as you want. We're all going to die act, says Chuck Schumer. Okay, so if we cut taxes, if they can't steal more of our money instead of living within their means because they already take too much, we're all going to die. Is that a threat, a promise, or just a hyperbolic ranting from a lunatic? I don't know. So here's what Clandestine says. Zelensky is scared. Ukraine and NATO. Well, here, let me just play this first.
We suggest.
I think that our partners can support us. We offer the Russians a ceasefire until the leaders meet. My opinion is personal. I want to be the first to be ready for the meeting right away, so that there are no insinuations. The meeting is at the choice of the Russians, Istanbul, the Vatican, Switzerland. All of this is here. We offer appointments from Monday to any day. Clandestine says, Ukraine, NATO attack Russian airfields. Then as soon as Zelensky sees Putin tell Trump there will be a response, he's begging for a ceasefire until there's a meeting with Putin. He poked the bear and expected not to get mauled? Man, he is up to his eyeballs in it. Brianna Morello reporting, President Trump plans to shut down the Quiet Skies terror surveillance program, according to reports. Quiet Skies, also known as SSSS, was used by the Biden regime to target its political opposition. As she exclusively reported, Tulsi Gabbard and thousands of conservatives were added to this list. She's currently suing TSA over this. Quiet Skies was launched in 2010, and the program has never caught a single terrorist. Undercover video shows Megan Poon, the dean of students at the University of North Carolina, Asheville, admitting that she loves breaking the rules by continuing to push DEI initiatives, racist and misandrous DEI initiatives, despite a ban on DEI by the Board of Governors. She loves to break the rules. She just didn't realize she was bragging to an accuracy in media undercover reporter. So check out that video. Matt Van Swol, talking about Asheville, North Carolina, says a few nonprofits are posting the exact location of ICE agents on Facebook every single day. Not only that, but they're literally sending scouts out with cameras to check on suspicious-looking vehicles that could potentially be ICE. This is insane. CIMA, Compañeros Inmigrantes de las Montañas de Acción, says migration truck update around Asheville. No trucks were found on the site reported on or around. Yeah, this is putting all the officers' lives in risk, and it's hampering the investigations. These people are complicit. Wall Street Apes reports here. This is an O'Keefe Media Group video. Ariel Hismo. It says, it's very clear why Jerome Powell and the Federal Reserve refused to lower interest rates. James O'Keefe exposed Federal Reserve principal economists, saying Jerome Powell's legacy is somebody who held the line against, like, Trump. Donald Trump is just a crazy person, and conservatives are dumb. Under Powell, the Fed has changed to think about equity issues, like racial issues. Think about wealth inequality as part of the mandate, as part of the things that we are following. Think about climate change and the Federal Reserve. Check out that video. Brian Cates points out those defying any of the subpoenas and refusing to appear before the committee are also a federal felony, because Bannon and Navarro cases definitively established that for all time. Gee, that's an awfully nice precedent that you've set there with the Bannon and Navarro cases. Sure would be a real shame if somebody used it. So let's hope somebody uses it. Kyle Becker puts out a fun fact. Joe Biden was so mentally checked out of his own presidency that he didn't even sign the letter that announced he was dropping out of the race. Yeah, we reported on that at the time. Mike Benz exposing that Bono did more than just steal 99% of the aid he raised for starving Africans. Even worse, he shipped guns to communist warlords to trigger a genocidal war. Huge accusations from Alex Jones through Mike Benz. Check out that video. By the way, I'm wondering where I posted something that I'm not seeing on my profile. Do I have to click it and refresh it again? I posted. Oh, did that go to the wrong account? No, I shared it through X. Why is it not showing on the profile? Huh. So I got to get the Elon update real quick. All right, so Amuse is reporting some of the federal workers who received 25 to 40,000 VSIP payments to leave government, they're returning as contractors without repaying the money, but they're required to repay the money in full before their first day of federal work as an employee or contractor. Seems like it might be time for Big Balls to write a little program to ensure that everyone who took the VSIP money and returned to federal service has repaid the money. Agreed. All right, Luke Radowski, this is what I was getting at. He only sees this devolving from here. Elon says, without me, Trump would have lost the election. Dems would control the House, and the Republicans would be 51-49 in the Senate. Such ingratitude. Elon puts out, where's this guy today? Jesse Pelton put, man, this guy would win in a landslide. Here's some of President Trump's posts from 2011, 2012. We could use the balanced budget amendment. Politicians don't have the will to cut spending. Can't believe the Republicans are extending the debt ceiling. I'm a Republican and I am embarrassed. We need a balanced budget amendment because Congress has no fiscal discipline. This goes on and on and on and on. And yeah, this guy would win in a landslide, but we don't know this guy today. Elon, where is this guy today? President Trump is speaking out about Elon, and Elon is firing back. This is going to get ugly.
But if they picked him, I would have won Pennsylvania. I won it by a lot. But I'm very disappointed because Elon knew the inner workings of this bill better than almost anybody sitting here, better than you people. He knew everything about it. He had no problem with it. All of a sudden he had a problem, and he only developed the problem when he found out that we're going to have to cut the EV mandate because that's billions and billions of dollars.
Okay, David, that's what you were saying. You heard that it was only because the EV mandate's going to get cut, or the EV, whatever, funding, kickback, payback, payoff, I don't know, whatever you call it. Yeah. Rebate programs or whatever.
And it really is unfair. We want to have cars of all types. Electric, we want to have electric, but we want to have a gasoline, combustion. We want to have different. We want to have hybrids. We want to have all. We want to be able to sell everything. And when that was cut, and Congress wanted to cut it, it became a little bit different. And I can understand that. But he knew every aspect of this bill. He knew it better than almost anybody. And he never had a problem until right after he left. And if you saw the statements he made about me, which I'm sure you can get very easily, it's very fresh on tape, he said the most beautiful things about me. And he hasn't said bad about me personally, but I'm sure that'll be next. But I'm very disappointed in Elon. I've helped Elon a lot.
Mr. President, I just want to clarify, did he raise any of these concerns with you privately before he raised them publicly? And this is the guy.
Elon fires back, false. This bill was never shown to me even once and was passed in the dead of the night so fast that almost no one in Congress could even.
But if they picked him, All
right, Elon's calling Trump a liar. Here's stories about that family farm. Yep, Trump shares post saying Biden was executed and replaced with clones. James Wood says, isn't it interesting that neither Poland or Hungary is enduring the chaos and violence indigenous to mass immigration? Oh, right, they enforce their borders and their laws. Matt Couch reposted that. Anomaly says, Howard Stern, Sacha Baron Cohen, and Dave Portnoy made a career off of edgy humor. Now they all blew their cover in almost identical fashion. No jokes allowed. No jokes allowed. We covered Posobiec talking about Operation Spiderweb, where President and the White House were kept in the dark. Not good. Epstein investing with Thiel and his estate is reaping millions. Jason Bassler. They didn't give us Epstein's client list, but they did give his dark money collaborators a $795 million contract to build a master surveillance database for your future social credit score. You don't hate government enough, says Jason Bassler. Scott Jennings says, when she pulls her book out, Karine Jean-Pierre, we ought to treat it from a source that has proven track record of lying from the podium of the White House to the American people. This is Rand Paul saying if the bill was only about 2017 tax cuts, he'd be a hell yes. And there's an 8-minute interview with him explaining why on Newsmax. Representative Chip Roy asks if people are paying attention to London with a massive takeover of the UK going on right before our eyes. Strong concerns about Sharia law and whether that will be forced on American people. Brian Cates discussing 8,300 alleged Joe Biden signed documents pardoning all these people with executive orders. Also, the document Biden didn't really sign that commuted the death penalty of 37 inmates on federal death row to life in prison. That was one of the executive orders. Okay, this is what I thought I shared, a 4-minute video of Dave Portnoy. Okay, maybe this is the Whitlock video. Let's just take a look at this one because I want to hear Whitlock's take.
I think right now you probably
nothing. Silence everything. What do you? Every comedian, don't tell a joke about it because Dave, that's how the world works. I agree with you.
Go back to your question. When does freedom of speech impinge
on freedom of religion? Not mine. That was your question.
Answer it.
How many deaths?
Yeah.
I don't.
Does comedy cause death? I think homicidal ideology causes death. I think.
I don't have an answer.
American citizens.
What's your answer to that question?
Now.
Okay, we're there. Now. So now what? So now what do we do?
So maybe you stop with the fucking Jew jokes and act like it's not a big deal when someone does fuck the Jews in a bar.
Or no, here's the thing.
Okay, so some of the backstory. I think Portnoy owns a bar in I think Boston. And somebody hired bottle service and put that message that he said onto the sign with the sparklers with the bottle of vodka that got delivered to the table. I don't know if that's a bar he frequents or a bar he owns, so that upset him. I get that.
I'm with you 1,000%.
I don't know if that's a joke. I mean, that's not really funny. That's a statement.
You should fucking kick those people out. Of course you should.
And you can kick those people out of your establishment. That's not really even a joke. That doesn't seem to be funny. That seems to be someone that says, I don't like those people. I'm going to put that on my sign. And you could say F the whoever. And that's not really cool to put in a bar. It's not proper decorum. It ain't good. You get drunk people calling out demographics saying, I hate this group and screw them. That's not a good idea. Get drunk people angry with each other. Not good. but that's not comedy. That wasn't an attempt at humor.
I'm not talking about kicking them out. I'm talking about.
You want to go to jail? Like, what do you want? Like, those guys.
You are defending this guy Mick for what?
He's not defending. He's asking. What are you saying? He's asking for clarification. And Dave is doing a really poor job of explaining himself.
He said right after that happened. He's not anti-Semitic.
I'm not defending him. No,
if your brain goes there,
I'm not defending him, Dave. What I'm saying is you should have.
If your brain goes there, an anti-Semitic piece of shit. No, your brain can go a lot of places. And not everything deserves being wrapped up with, oh, and you're anti-Semitic if you said that or feel that. This is a blanket speech silencing whammy card. Aha, I'm playing the wild card. You don't get to do that on every issue. You don't get to keep an endless supply of wild cards. Ha. It's what the progressives, what the deep state's been doing to silence Americans for decades now. Oh, you're this, you're that, you're an anti this, you're a phobic of that. You sit down, shut up. We're in charge. You're not allowed to have an opinion. You can't state your truth. You can't speak your mind. You better sit down and shut up or we're going to destroy you. That's terrorism. So yeah, you're allowed to talk. You're allowed to have your feelings and opinions.
Have them on here or somebody else like that and fucking fight with them, because then you have a conversation.
That's what this idiot wants.
Dave, these guys that wrote the thing at the bar, fuck the Jews, right?
Yes.
You're going to fucking fly them to Auschwitz. Some guy tweets at you something. You want to fucking, he's not, you can't come on.
It was a bar I owned. It was.
Yeah, okay, yes. So it is the bar he owns. I was right about that.
It's a bar I owned.
They should have been kicked out. So, but
I wouldn't want that in my bar. I completely agree. I would. You guys gone.
No, it's not just kick out, Kirk. Are you ignoring what's going on in the world?
No,
right
I'm
now?
not. What, Dave? What do you want to do? Those guys?
What do you want to do?
What do you want to do with those guys in the bar? Put them in jail for 50 years?
Kirk,
fine. I don't care.
I didn't say that. You're quite.
Okay, he's putting words in your mouth, but you're not explaining yourself every time he's asking you, what do you want? You're not explaining, so he's, well, are you saying this? Are you saying that? I don't know. I'm greatly siding with this guy on the right, not knowing any background, not knowing any context. Dave's not making a whole lot of sense. And this other guy, I mean, he's, I don't know.
Quite literally changing everything you say. Kirk, if you just want me to kick him out, not mention
whoever this Kirk guy is, I don't know who this is.
Not care that this kid
is
anti-Semitic.
Not at all.
Shut up. If you just want me to ignore it.
Don't tell me to shut up. Don't tell me.
Shut the fuck up, you bald fuck.
Okay.
Dave Portnoy is an asshole, right? Look at that interaction right there. That doesn't play well. That doesn't play well at all.
That this kid is anti-Semitic. Shut up. If you just want.
Now, I will agree he was starting to cut him off there, but like they're having a hard time communicating and he's trying to get to the point.
Not at all.
Shut up. If you just want me to ignore it.
Don't tell me to shut up. Don't tell me.
Shut the fuck up, you bald fuck.
Okay, go ahead.
How's that?
Oh, it's kill. I'll never recover from that, Dave. Go ahead, continue. I'll never recover.
Well, you're the one who big boss man, don't tell. I'll tell you work for me.
Okay, go ahead, continue.
You little bitch, you work.
Yeah, Dave is not coming off well at all.
Continue. I'll never recover.
Well, you're the one who big boss man, don't tell. I'll tell you work for me.
Okay, go ahead, continue.
You little bitch, you work for me.
Sure.
Degrading, dehumanizing power trip here. Not a good look for Dave Portnoy.
You bet. For now.
Oh, you
continue.
don't? For now, quit. I don't care. Is 500 grand.
Is this show or not a show? Like,
I'll say 500 grand. He's making 500 grand.
Is it a show or not a show? Like, we can't have a conversation?
You're an idiot.
Okay, continue.
You're literally saying people should be allowed to make Jew jokes, say whatever they want right fucking now. That's
yes, I think people should be allowed to make jokes.
Once again, I agree that people should be allowed to make jokes.
So how many motherfucking Jews have to be killed before you stop?
So if you make jokes, people are going to...
That everybody, I don't think.
What else? Where else is that happening with the religion or people?
Charlie Hebdo, Islam. Remember that? Have you ever heard of that, Dave? Charlie Hebdo. Look it up. Look at the rampage because a cartoonist drew Muhammad. That's humor, and that's violence. Where else is that happening? Islam. That's where.
I don't think those psychopaths, I'm with you, they're scumbags, are the worst people on the earth. Should that
You don't think it's all related?
But Dave, you're telling a comedian not to make a joke?
It's not a comedian.
I'm with you, but you said stop all jokes.
Jew jokes of that nature now.
We'll ban Jew jokes of that nature. We'll get the Constitution, we'll get Congress, and stop Jew jokes of that nature.
I'll go back to this.
Jew jokes of that nature. How do you define that?
Yeah.
When does freedom of speech impinge on freedom of religion?
I don't think freedom of speech should. I think freedom of speech is the most important thing in this country.
Okay, so people can go kill the Jews, and there's no responsibility if someone goes and kills Jews.
No,
a violent act is not speaking. But I have been calling out the Palestine people from the river to the sea. Yeah, they're calling for a genocide to wipe them off. Intifada. They're going to shake off the fleas into the sea. The dehumanizing. They all need to be wiped out. From the river to the sea, get rid of them all. That's what they're calling for. And they're pretending that it's not a call to violence, which it is.
That's a crime if you kill somebody.
Yes, that's violence. Speech is different than an act of violence.
No, but not saying, hey, go kill Jews.
That's different. No. What do you mean?
You can say somebody should go kill Jews. You don't do it, but someone hears you and goes do it. You're fine with that?
If somebody says, go kill Jews?
Yes.
No, that's different than telling. I thought we were talking about telling a joke. I thought we were talking
Yeah, that's not humor. That's not a joke.
Comedians.
They are all using semantics for anti-Semitism right now. And I can tell the difference because for 20 years of doing it, I've never mentioned it, Kirk.
No, and I said to you when this thing happened a couple
how
weeks ago,
can you not realize we're in a different time right now?
I completely realize, and I'm sensitive to the fact that you're sensitive, and I feel bad.
No, you're not. You don't get it.
That's not true. I am sensitive to it. What I'm saying is it's a fine line. I think you would agree. I think you would agree, so maybe you don't, that when you start harnessing free speech and what can be said and what can't be said.
I'm not saying throw any of these people in jail. You want me to give this kid a pass.
Which kid are we talking about now?
No. If you want, no.
The kid at the table in your bar? No, you kick him out of your bar. Like, no. You don't antagonize a demographic of people where everyone's drinking alcohol and they're prone to get violent. No. Based on that alone, you kick them out of the bar, let alone if you're a member of whatever special group, you're personally offended by the message. The message shouldn't be in a bar.
What I would like you to do and
it's not humorous. So I don't even know. These people are just yelling at each other, but I wanted to see the full context here.
In my mind, this is why I pitched it to the producers and you disagreed and you are the boss. Like I said to you yesterday, it's your dime. You own the company. I thought it would be interesting to have somebody on who you disagree with, who I think at the end you wouldn't disagree with that much, have a conversation, which is what I thought you were trying to do. Hold on one second. Which I thought you were trying to do with bringing these guys to Auschwitz, trying to have a conversation. So you put a name in the face of somebody who you disagree with and have an actual conversation.
Yeah, Dave did not come off well at all. Jason Whitlock says this video is disturbing. The lack of emotional control, the condescension and supremacist mindset, the anger. Wow. There's a darkness within Portnoy that's frightening and it's indefensible. All right. Laura Logan told the truth on Benghazi. Makes her a hero, and she's, doing testimony about that. Laura Logan has used some of my footage from January 6th, which is cool. Laura Ingraham having a segment here saying an estimated 850,000 people are in the United States on expired visas, and they're automatically deportable. We were told to track entities and exits after 9/11 for a reason. If we don't know who's here, we can't protect this country. Stephen A. Smith unloads on Karine Jean-Pierre over continuing to cover up Biden's decline. Look, I didn't have this on my bingo board, but Stephen A. Smith has become a powerful voice in politics.
You were not the White House press secretary when you showed up on ABC's The View a couple of months ago. You were talking major stuff then. You were not the White House press secretary. You were an American citizen who was not working in the White House. What the hell you going on the show for then? Bloviating about Joe Biden and how He was alert, and he was spry, and he was a great commander-in-chief, and he was sharp and all of this stuff. I don't have it clipped in front of me because I just saw the story. You're lucky I don't have time to pull it up. But I'm fully aware of the fact that you were not the White House press secretary when you were on The View spewing the same stuff you had spewed when you were the White House press secretary. So all bets are off. You didn't have to do that, but you chose to. Live with your decisions. Live with your decisions. You didn't have to do that, but that's what you chose to do. You chose to go front and center and still spew the same party line. So what the book's going to tell us? The book's going to tell us more about the Democrats. The book is the book going to be an extension of Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson's book, Original Sin? Yet another Democrat coming out and telling us about stuff that a whole bunch of stuff on the right was telling us, but y'all swore we shouldn't listen to while y'all were engaging in cancel culture, while y'all were engaging in excoriating anybody that called the Democratic Party out for what the hell was going on.
Yep.
That's what we supposed to do now?
Mm-hmm.
That's what we supposed to do. We're supposed to listen to you now. Okay.
Okay.
I'll do that. Corinne Jean-Pierre, you are more than welcome to come on the Stephen A. Smith Show.
Oh, no way.
And explain your book and what it's going to say. But not only why we didn't hear from you while you were the White House press secretary, which is very understandable.
Because she's complicit.
But how come we didn't hear that from you afterwards? Why were we hearing the same stuff after you left the White House that you were saying while you were in the White House?
Yep. Because she was complicit, that's why. Anyway, that's what I had prepared to share with you today. Yeah, starting not to like Dave too much. He did not come off well at all. Not cool. I don't know how well that guy is getting paid to put up with that abuse, but that's bullshit. That guy deserves a public apology. Oh boy, what's this? Wait a minute. Hold on. Let me check X for one more story. Because if this just happened... Oh, shit. Yep, this just happened. This is going to get really bad. All right, breaking news. Elon has something to say. Let me full screen this. An hour ago, Elon says, is it time to create a new political party in America that actually represents the 80% in the middle? Yeah, 82% say yes. All right, Elon posted this. Oh, boy. Time to drop the really big bomb, says Elon Musk. Real Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That is the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day, DJT. Oh, my God. Boy, I said when Cash and Bongino changed their tune, They look like they were reading a hostage video. I said, this is not good. This means Trump's in it. Or he's in witness protection. But like my gut instinct jumped to he's in it. Oh, man. Sorry, I'm reacting to this. I got people sending me this message. This is wow. Elon says, mark this post for the future. The truth will come out. How would Elon know that? Brian Cates responds and says, LOL, it's becoming increasingly obvious what's going on. Watch the usual idiots resurrect the Trump-Epstein narrative. Trump is the most attacked and investigated and lawfared person in history. If he was a pedophile, there would be no way that remained any kind of a secret for 10 years. You're watching kayfabe. Kayfabe? I don't know what that means. They're posting wrestling. Is this a public stunt or a public... Oh, boy. Elon is a man scorned. A term from professional wrestling describing the portrayal of staged events as real or unscripted to maintain audience immersion. It's the art of keeping the scripted drama, storylines, rivalries, and outcomes believable, as if the wrestlers' personas and conflicts are genuine. Historically, wrestlers and promoters protected kayfabe. How do I even pronounce it? Pronunciation of the word. I've heard this before, but I don't remember. Kayfabe. Day babe. Kayfabe. Historically, heels, villains, and faces, heroes, wouldn't be seen socializing publicly. The term likely comes from carny slang, possibly a corruption of beef fake or pig Latin, used for traveling carnivals. It's evolved beyond wrestling, now often applied to any situation where a staged narrative is presented as reality, like reality TV or political theater. Breaking kayfabe, revealing the scripted nature, can disrupt the audience's suspension of disbelief, though modern wrestling sometimes blurs the line intentionally for storytelling. I'm just yeah, this is a real post from Elon. Is it real what Elon's saying? I don't know. But he is so pissed off after sacrificing everything he could to help Doge and to fix the funding scenario. And then they just don't pass this stuff. And it's like he wasted his time and he got his products are getting firebombed and you're not going to even codify this stuff. Like, what was it all for? What was he wasting his time for? He's pissed. We're on a debt bomb. Those are... Alex Jones says, God help us all. Peter Schiff says, that escalated quickly. Oh, my God. This one talking about how Trump actually kicked Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago and was the only person who cooperated with the lawyer for Epstein's victims. Yeah. His name is in the flight logs from the 90s, but no evidence released documents that ties him to any crimes. Elon says, Drew, I'm curious if what you're saying about Trump being in the Epstein files is true. How long have you known this? Why did you wait until now? Why were you planning on just sitting on this forever? Genuine questions now that you've decided to release blackmail. David Harris said you've just lost all credibility, Elon. Everyone, don't do that. Elon Musk. That. Bro did the thing again. Graham Allen's right. Too serious of an accusation to post without evidence. Drop the evidence now or Trump is going to sue you into oblivion. His phone number was in Epstein's book. That's it. Yeah, he was a target, and he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. Trump was the president when Epstein was allegedly the one that did that to himself. Kaizen says this was this was unnecessary. You already had the more principled position. It was Trump's administration that finally took down Epstein. Remember in 2015 when Trump called out Epstein and said that island is really a cesspool, just ask Prince Harry.
Well, I think he's got a problem. I mean, what do you think the problem will be? I don't know, but that island was really a cesspool. There's no question about it. Just ask Prince Andrew. He'll tell you about it. The island was an absolute cesspool. So,
the Clintons are friends
and he's
of
been
yours,
there
right?
for many times.
The Clintons are friends.
Well, I can't say friends, but I know
You're friendly. You know them.
They play at my clubs a lot. I have clubs, and everybody likes to play at my clubs.
Are you saying there's a political problem for her if she runs for president?
It could be a political problem. Look, he could be a political problem. Right now, he's Teflon, and right now, maybe not. But he could end up being a political problem.
Talking about Clinton, I believe. When you protect governments and pedos for national security, there's Bongino and Cash and Bondi. My goodness. Harrison Crank put this out. Trump getting out of his Tesla. I bought this before Elon went crazy. Oh my God. I'm on. Boy, that escalated quickly. Oh shit. Elon didn't kill himself. And for the algorithms, I'm mentioning that someone did not do that. That's not a bad word, and you don't need to censor it. It's all a grand opera. It's all a stage, and we're merely just players. Goodness gracious, people. I was trying to sign out, and then I got this. Oh, boy. Hey, look. It's no one's been arrested o'clock again. Yeah, that's our calling card right there. One sad fact about Donald Trump is that he eventually turns on everyone. The first time someone isn't 100% a yes man, Trump turns on him. Elon isn't the first and won't be the last. I like Trump, but it sounds like that interview pissed Elon off. Elon's like, I never saw the bill. Don't say that I was in favor of this piece of garbage. It's very reminiscent of watching the Dave Portnoy interview. You said something, and it pissed you off, and you went as low as you could, saying something that could hurt you. Hey, look, if you've ever been in a relationship with somebody and you spend a lot of time together, and they know the way to press your buttons, and they know the way to say the things that are the worst things, whether that's you absorbing it, or whether you saying it, or you grew up with parents that did that, or had siblings that did, or cousins, friends at school. Like, we've all been around that to one degree or another. Going scorched earth. Elon is the new CNN. Trump was on the plane, well-established knowledge, but never went to the island. Elon thinking he landed a big shot is a joke. This is 10-year-old news. Man. Yeah, if there was any real dirt on Trump, it would have come out years ago. Oh, my goodness. Now, this escalated quickly, people. Oh, jeez. All right. David saying, as far as I know, Elon's always been on the dark side. I mean, look, he wore that costume, like that demon costume to the Halloween thing. Is Elon remote controlled? Kenneth, do you get along well? No, I don't get along well. Well, shit. This just turned ugly. All right. Stay tuned. We'll update this tomorrow on tomorrow's TNAM Daily Show. Countervailing views, health and elections, cdc.gov, who.intcis.gov/rumor control. Follow the New American Media on Instagram, Facebook, True Social, Rumble, Odysee, Twitch, Kick D Live, and YouTube at the New American Media. On Telegram and Signal at TNAM and TNAM Chat. On X at American_media_. Subscribe to our podcast, The Agree to Disagree Show, and The Unhappy Hour Sports Show on Spotify and Apple. As Nimbus nuzzles me and licks my hand. Thank you, buddy. And that's usually what happens right before he'll chomp at your fingers. He's like the Tootsie Roll owl. Tootsie Roll Pop owl. How many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Roll Tootsie Pop? 1, 2, 3. 3. All right, I'll get Nimbus his lunch here. And the TNAM donation links, if anybody would like to toss a ducat into the tip jar. We're on Patreon at the New American Media, Venmo and Cash App at BrianEngelman, and PayPal at Fuzz Installment. My goodness. This budget thing just got ballistic. Budget battle becomes ballistic. That'll be my title for tomorrow. Budget bat. Should I write that down? Should I remember? Budget battle becomes ballistic. You crossed Elon and he crossed you back. Shit. Elon didn't kill himself. Or is it kayfabe? I don't know. I'm learning about it in real time with you. Ah, boy. I just keep seeing Bongino and Patel doing nothing. And it doesn't sit right with me. It doesn't sit right. No indictments, no arrests. What is going on? We'll find out more tomorrow. All right. Signing out. I appreciate you. I love you. And we'll talk to you again soon. Take care, everybody. Peace.
Your guide to the truth. TheNewAmericanMedia.com.